Greetings, Earthlings, this is my introduction. They say greatness doesn't come overnight, so I'm not rushing. Spaced out swag, best believe I'm paper touching. Super stupid flow, and you bitches can't tell them nothing. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand me. Got a sense for drama, so I always keep the cannon. This is the invasion, so watch out for our landing. Standing tall, never too far. Spring and summer fashion, bro, I get it in the fall. Y'all about to start hating, and I don't mind at all. I'm a thriller like MJ, and my flow is off the wall. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around here. I think it's an invasion. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Greetings, Earthlings. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I live life like there's no tomorrow. Chris King, KGNOOB. What homes you ain't know? We're UFO. Cargo, khakis, polos, and fresh kicks. That's the definition of what the cargo kids is. SOS, yes, spaced out swagger. I never do anything right, I'm backwards. I'm so galactic, so erratic. You niggas on my old swag, you can have it. The world is mine and your girl is too. So do us a favor, make room for the crew. Wow. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around here. I think it's an invasion. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion.
Now rockin' with DJ.
WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around. Let's go. WhoDat? Respect the DJ.
Slippin' Slide DJ.
It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Greetings, Earthlings, this is my introduction. They say greatness doesn't come overnight, so I'm not rushing. Spaced out swag, best believe I'm paper touching. Super stupid flow, and you bitches can't tell them nothing. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand me. Got a sense for drama, so I always keep the cannon. This is the invasion, so watch out for our landing. Standing tall, never too far. Spring and summer fashion, bro, I get it in the fall. Y'all about to start hating, and I don't mind at all. I'm a thriller like MJ, and my flow is off the wall. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around here. I think it's an invasion. WhoDat? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Greetings, Earthlings. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I live life like there's no tomorrow. Chris King, KGNOOB. What home? homes you ain't know, we're UFO. Cargo, khakis, polos, and fresh kicks. That's the definition of what the cargo kids is. SOS, yes, spaced out swagger. I never do anything right, I'm backwards. I'm so galactic, so erratic. You niggas on my old swag, you can have it. The world is mine and your girl is too. So do us a favor, make room for the crew. Wow. Who they? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Who they? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion.
You're now rocking with DJ.
Who they? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's
DJ
an
Skinny.
invasion. They not from around.
Let's go.
Who they?
Respect the DJ.
Slip
and slide DJ.
It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion.
Lockstar.
Greetings, Earthlings, this is my introduction. They say greatness doesn't come overnight, so I'm not rushing. Spaced out swag, best believe I'm paper touching. Super stupid flow, and you bitches can't tell them nothing. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand. UFO, uniquely flying, outstanding. All I speak is cash, I see why you don't understand me. Got a sense for drama, so I always keep the cannon. This is the invasion, so watch out for our landing. Standing tall, never too far. Spring and summer fashion, bro, I get it in the fall. Y'all about to start hating, and I don't mind at all. I'm a thriller like MJ, and my flow is off the wall.
Who they? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. They not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Who they? They're not from around. It's gotta be my imagination. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. I think it's an invasion. Man, they not from around here. I think it's an invasion. Greetings, Earthlings. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I am Wallow. I live life like there's no tomorrow. Chris King, KGNOOB. What homes you ain't know?
And we live, baby. Welcome to the mothership. We have a very special episode of the WhoDat podcast this Sunday. It's a new episode, but in light of everything going on in the world, we have some very special guests, and we have quite a few. You see, we've changed the setup. We got everything. But it looked nice though, don't it? Like, man, it's official as a whistle over here. But we have some very important guests with us. I want to introduce. We have a local business owner, activist. She's a friend of the podcast. Has her own talk show, Tea Talks, which is coming on later on tonight. But we have Miss Jasmine Armstrong.
Hello everyone.
JCA. Then we have another local business owner who's also an activist, the organizer of support. I'm reading your shirt. The organizer of Juneteenth. The organizer of Juneteenth. The head of Juice Me Daily. She's the chairman of the NAACP media department. Did I say that right? All right. Ms. J. Lee.
Hey, y'all.
Do I say your middle name?
No, Jay Lee's good.
Jay Lee's good. Once
Yeah.
again, she's been on the show before. And for the first time, we have a close friend of mine. He's a local pastor. He's an activist. We loaded today. But he's an activist, a local pastor, very influential in the community. A lot of people already know the brother, but Mr. George Bullock is here. I forget what's the church. It's East 8?
East 8th Street Church.
Yes. I was right. All right.
Yeah, you was
so,
right.
we're very blessed to have him with us. And then also we have another very special guest. We really on one today because we're serious today.
It's special all around.
Yes. But we have the local chapter here in the NAACP. The president has been kind enough to grace us with his presence, and today Captain Paco is Demario.
Yeah, I'm Demario.
We have another Paco in the building.
The original.
Yeah, there it is.
We have Paco Havard. But he's the president of the local Murray County chapter of the NAACP, and he's joining us. And we're gonna, be talking about some things. But like always, it's your boy B. And we got the captain, Demario.
Yeah,
today.
that's me.
Yes, and so we thank all y'all for joining us. I want to read some stats off real quick, and like just put that out on the table before we get started. The Pew Research Center did a study years ago, and they found that public marches and protests actually have a 0.01% effect on legislation that changes in the country.
So take
I
note
can
of that.
believe it.
There's a 0.01%.
Bring it in here close.
The Pew Research, and if anybody just researches like I do, then I love the Pew Research Center because they do some good studies. But they found that protesting and marching has a 0.01% effect on the changing of public policy and legislation. They said that it's so minute it might as well not be considered. That's one fact that I just want to put out there.
So
second fact that just came out on CNN today has to do with health, and it's something that we haven't thought about, but I just like to put this out there because I like facts. But studies show that race-related stress is a significantly more powerful risk factor for poor mental health than stressful life events like regular stress. It can contribute, listen now, to anxiety disorders and depression, and it also has impact on your heart rate, raises your blood pressure, and creates chronically elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol, which can in turn lead to cardiovascular disorders and diseases, which we are the leaders in all of those things. So it says here from one of the doctors, Herd Garris, that performed the research or the study. He says some people think only black and brown folks who see themselves as potential victims will identify and experience health impacts. But we have data that shows despite color, race still causes stress if they experience racism like things. So with that being said, I would just like to put that on the table, that the stress that is caused from racism is actually a more contributing factor to heart disease, heart ailments for all races, but most importantly ours, because numbers are numbers.
Need you to flip that mic up, bro.
Like up.
I do not like CNN, but I like that.
Yeah.
Well, in that sense, I may not believe if you think about it when, let's say the little black girl goes for an interview and the little white girl goes for an interview. We have to think about our voices, how we're going to sound. We got to think about our hair. Is my hair too black today? Do I need to white it up a little bit? Do I need to straighten it out? Can I go with my cute bun, or do I need to add the little curls on the side? Like, how downplayed of my blackness do I need to do to get this job? Whereas the white girl, she wakes up, she knows she looks good, she got a dress on, she's ready, she's chipper, she knows the person in front of her is going to take her in, all because she's the white girl there who's nice and she smiles. Whereas the black girl, it's like every interview I've ever talked to and then get done with, like, I think I smiled enough, hopefully they liked me. It was a white girl there, so I'm sure, you know, depending on if they liked my black ass and black self enough, if I got the job or not. Right. So I totally agree with that, and that's just as simple as an interview.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, hate is real. Hate is, I mean, that's what racism is hate.
Yes.
So hate, I mean, what else do you expect from it but stress and oppression and confidence killer?
And the fact that it is the actual
Confidence
contributing
killer.
factor.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And
My hair is
lack of
down.
confidence
exactly what
gives
you said,
physical
yeah.
ailments.
My
But I just
dress
wanted to
is
put that
nice.
out on the table. Just some facts. Just some facts so we can have that before we go into everything. But right now we all know what the last 3 days have been around the country. I'm not really gonna harp on too much about the past, but recently CNN once again said that this is the worst period since the 60s when it comes to protests, uprisings, and riots. Right now, the National Guard is deployed in 5 separate states. There's 20 to 30 cities on fire, and we have multiple cases in different areas of the country that have police-related deaths, whether they be retired police officers or plain clothes or on duty in the middle of the street. They're from New York to Georgia to Kentucky to Minnesota. It's just a very active thing right now. Like we haven't seen, even with the hype that we've seen, you know, camera phones. So the reason why we got everybody together, and we were supposed to have a few more guests, but they weren't able to make it. That's all right though, because we still have a very good sound mind of people here. So this obviously changes the country. This obviously is a change, especially for our people. And when I say our people, when I say black, it usually incorporates everybody, whether it be immigrants from Africa or something like that. But I'm talking about descendants of the slave trade. Like that, our people will not have the same relationship with the country like we did last week. It's changed now. So with that change, how do we here, Murray County, Columbia, Spring Hill, whatever, what do we do to adapt our local community to a change that we know is going to be there? How do we prepare and come out on the other side? You know what I mean? Like before the show, when you said you lived through 67.
Yeah,
and
67
I said,
rebellion.
well, we got to be thinking in a 69 mind right now.
Yeah, see, the thing about it is that you got to realize, where do you go from here? What are we going to get out of it? What's going to be our takeaway, and where is it leading to, and what do we want to do as our end result? Because, see, you've got to counterbalance what's coming at you.
Yes.
You're definitely going to have to do that. You don't know, nobody likes change, but change is upon us.
Yes.
So the best thing we could do is to make it to our own benefit and see what our end result we want happens.
Right.
See, so we have to be the motivators to get us to that point. See, because change, like you said, change, as soon as you walk out this door, is different. And it's going to be different for the next few weeks. You know, it's bad because you got an enemy that you can't see, but then you got an enemy that you see.
Yeah.
But the thing that we have to realize is that it wasn't only black folk.
Right.
See, they're going to try to put it on us anyway. Like there was a guy in Nashville. He stopped this white guy and asked, what you doing? You put this crap on this cop car and they're going to think it's us. See, we got to deal with that type of stuff. That comes in with that hypertension. That comes in with that stress.
Yes.
It may not be employment, but it's still the same.
Yes.
Because who is the one going to be the next one talk down to a black kid because of something they thought a black person had done during this right? You know?
Yes.
I mean, it's the cause and effect, but still, we got to look beyond that. What do we want to get out of this change? Where do we want to be at?
And I think that's why I like that fact that you gave earlier about how marches really don't affect in the White House or whatever.
Right.
But what I do know it does is shows solidarity, you know, and this isn't a black and white thing. This is obviously a human versus racism. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the black people have been the ones, unfortunately,
We're the oppressed
oppressed ones, the main events.
Get the
but
burn of it.
I feel like it's just like the coronavirus came about. We had to adjust. We have masks now. We have to wear gloves here and there, blah 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 blah.
Right.
You know what? I do want to know too, like what is our change going to be as far as in the community? What's our mask? You know what I'm saying? What's going to be our gloves now going forward? And I think solidarity is going to be the key to everything.
Yes.
We're going to have to come together, black, white, Mexicans. Everybody has to be outraged at this point. And I think that's what the marches does. It shows that outrage. It shows this, that, you know, this has been like the biggest civil war, you know, movement in forever. Like you said, since the 60s, right?
Yeah.
And to compare it to the 60s is sickening to me. Like, I'm like, we're still
Exactly.
comparing, like,
Still there.
we're still there? Yeah, in 2020
yes.
to the 60s?
Oh,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? And we're not having it anymore. And I think people, it's a big wake-up call. If anything, they're going to be afraid to mess with another innocent civilian. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Put some on their P's and Q's.
exactly.
You know, they say the things, the more things change, the more they remain the same.
Exactly.
And you see that because like we're the brunt of everything.
Yeah, we are.
You know, so we gonna have to always carry the higher stick, you know, than the stick that's being put on us.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
and for you young folks, y'all definitely see I'm on the downslide of the mountain.
Right.
But y'all are the ones that's gonna have to make the way for tomorrow. You know, and that's important because what you're doing now is something so key and so important. You really don't know, but then once you sit out and get the gravity of the situation, like I said, you got 2,600 people. That's just what you know. But those that you don't know that this still reaches, that's what makes it important. That's what makes it so vast.
And that's the change that has to happen.
Oh,
the
most
youth
definitely.
has to get involved more.
It
Alyssa,
have
I
to.
like what you
You
said
have to.
earlier about education.
Yes,
And
education
how
is key.
Education. My kids know about, 1865 because you had that program that we had at the park. And it was fun. We had a projector going on. It was enlightening. And most of the time when we learn about ourselves, most of the time when, like I know me, like I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness, so honestly, I didn't watch a lot of black movies. I don't know really much about anything black until I met someone who was like, you never watched this movie, you don't know much about this. I was like, no, so, but it was the first time me sitting down and the information that was given to me was from a loving, warm place. But most of the time when you find out about yourself, it's from this aggressive, woke person, and like they're looking at you and they're like, how you don't know who you are? And it's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I don't. Like, don't, fault me for not knowing who I am. But if it came from a nurturing, loving way, then when these things happen, you wouldn't take such offense to it. It's almost like, yeah, this should be expected. So what do we do to fix it? Of course, the anger is going to be there, but it's like, well, let's get the kids to understand because all they see is legit black and white. They're not seeing it as this is a human. And then they might say something out the way to a white person just because it makes them feel better. And that's just, I guess, being ignorant to the fact that all white people aren't like this, but because this is what's being put in the news, when they say these things to a random white person, it makes them feel good, when they should learn that, no, you can't do that to everybody. Yes, this white person, you don't know how they're going to respond with black issues. That's why I've been paying attention to my social media and said, I see the white people who are standing behind us like they're our cousins. They're standing up, they're saying things. And then I'm also paying attention to the ones who are tucking their tail and staying low because they don't want to upset their white friends who are racist. And they're just as bad, but because I'm educated on that, I understand that. So instead of me making posts like, I'm only dealing with black businesses, no, I'm dealing with every business that deals with me wholeheartedly. Not because, yes, money is green, but I want to build relationships with my money.
Right, correct.
I want to keep my money here. I don't want to keep giving my money to Jay Lee, who smiles in my face but talks about me when I get home. I want to give my money to Jay Lee, who I know when I call her, like, hey, my little girl is having some issues with loving herself. Can she come spend the weekend with you? That's who I want to give my money to.
Right.
Or the white lady who takes my pictures and make sure it's not just the, you ever see some white photographers and they'll take a picture, well, I'm in that field.
Yeah,
And they'll take a picture of a black family and they'll take a picture of a white family, and I can always tell the detailing in the white pictures instead of the black family. There was no, making sure they stood out. It was just a picture. And I want to make sure that this white photographer is going to bring out my black beauty, but it takes education to know that without me going, just flying off the wall. Yes, I will say I have been one of those people that say, burn it down. Not
that's always
because
the initial.
I want to see anybody get
emotion.
hurt, not because I'm ignorant, I want to see my black people die, but I've never seen a war where there wasn't a casualty. I've never seen a war where things was just comfortable like this. Okay, but at the end of the
Where
day,
looting did not
that
take
was
place.
change. Yeah.
Every that's part of war.
I don't even call that looting.
Right.
The
Why
interesting-
has no rules? I'm sorry.
No, I mean
Okay.
the problem, they can't get mad at us for looting. They've been looting for years.
Exactly.
You know, they've
Started
been
it.
tearing, blowing stuff up and everything for years, so they can get mad about the looting. But to focus on the looting is to miss
The
on
problem.
the bigger issue at hand, the bigger issue at hand. That's one thing I hate about the looting, because so much light is shined on the looting, but they're not digging enough into the real relevant issue. So
Right.
it's easy to point out that you can see they burning down buildings, they in the street doing this and that. But when we put too much focus on that, it takes away from the underlining real issues, and that's the only thing I hate about the conversation about the looting
Me
going
too.
on,
Yeah.
and people
That's my
getting
whole
mad that they're looting, and some people are saying go ahead and loot. My thing is, man, loot or not, I completely understand. You mad, you frustrated, you've
Right.
been going through this for too long, and not only do they do it, when they do it, they put it in your face for you to see it.
Yes.
But see, the thing you got to realize too is that who's doing the looting, for what reason? Is it self-gratification?
Exactly.
It's not going to deal with the root of the problem.
Definitely.
It's masking the root of the problem.
Definitely.
And now they see it's not just us, it's mostly them that's doing the looting. You see what I'm saying? So eventually they're going to try to blame it on us, but it's not us.
already are.
And the thing about it is, who's the one to put the torch to it? Because at the end of the day, you the one that's going to have to go out to the suburbs to get whatever it is was in that store. You're going to have to get the money to them instead of one that's right there. Now see, you could protest them and you could keep them from making money right then. They got all this stuff in the store and they can't sell it. You see what I'm saying? And then they're going to have to come to you to stop this. And that's why that was so effective back in the day. But see, when you burn it down, they're going to turn around and you got to go way over there, spend more money, and you're going to spend more money over there in that neighborhood where it could have been in your home.
Well, that's what July 7th, when we do that blackout. Everybody's supposed to be dealing with black businesses. I say black businesses and white local businesses, like I said, who have stand behind us like we were cousins. Because it goes back to the education of why people are burning down the buildings. I agree, because people don't pay attention to you till you hit them in your pocket.
Right, exactly.
You hit me in my pocket, I felt that.
Yeah, and,
Right.
and that's
You
what
hit
I tell a
my
lot of
pocket,
folks.
I felt that, like, whoa.
And that's what I believe should play into the solution of where do we go next. I believe this one reason this parallels with the coronavirus is the unity that it brought about in so many different places. Like when that tornado hit Nashville, man, people from all over Nashville and everybody else was coming together to take care of Nashville. I believe it kind of has the same effect as in now. I believe one of the only ways to get past this thing that we're facing as people, whatever we want to pinpoint it as, racism, hate, slavery given a new form, whatever we want to paint that picture or name that beast, I believe the only way for us to be able to actually combat that beast is what this is making us do. it's making us have to come together.
Exactly.
Because either you're going to come together as a community or you're going to die as individuals.
So
Exactly. Your brother.
what are our options of coming together? What they come together in what ways? What are viable ways of actually coming together?
What you
Like,
doing
we were
right
talking
now?
about-
I believe.
But I
you
mean,
doing
like
right
on
now?
a real
Conversation.
institutional, consistent level of like weekly or monthly. Like in my mind, a coming together is mentorship programs. In my mind,
Definitely.
a coming together is creating a bank.
Definitely.
Like, what are real, actual ways to implement a community that's based on unity?
Taking
collective-
control over our dollar amount.
A collective
And
community.
keeping it here.
How?
Really just
That's
I'm gonna say it's a personal thing. I know for me personally, I really only deal with black businesses. I can tell everybody else to do that, you know, I can't expect them to do it, but if collectively as a whole, if we dealt and kept our money in our circle, our black people are the only people who we hold our dollar and it goes out to everyone else really quickly. Whereas everyone else, they keep their money very close knit.
Let me chime in for a minute with that too. And I hear this a lot, you know, we need to keep the black dollar in the black community, and I agree with that, but I feel like we need to harvest our resources, whatever our resource is. You know what I mean? This country may have this resource, this culture may have this resource, and we have to sell that resource in a sense of bringing in a distribution, because the wealth is over here. We have wealth. We do have
Right.
black wealth, but
A lot
they
of
have
disposable wealth.
right. But they have a wealth that we need to have a resource to sell to them to distribute some of the wealth back into our community. Because if we have this one phone in our community, and I pass it to Brandon. Okay, now you got the phone. Now pass it. Yeah, we've kept one phone. Pass it. Come on back around. I want my phone back. I want my damn phone back.
Just working on one phone.
Yeah, we just passing the wealth, but we need a resource
That's
to
bringing in more wealth to pass
Pass
around.
it to me.
That
Okay,
originates the
It
wealth.
does.
Right. That
Right.
originates
We
the
need
wealth
to-
and double it.
right.
Pass the phone.
Yeah, right. And we
How
passing.
about resources?
Look at this. We got a resource. We got a resource.
Okay, so
Now
we
look at
have-
this. Now look at this. Oh,
Now that's
this black
smart.
resource we just sold and bring into our black community. Now we have to keep it in our community.
Yeah.
You know. So what is our
Got you.
black resource, y'all?
Tell me.
What? No, I'm asking
Culture.
Oh, okay.
We have so
Our
much.
culture is
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
many
our
things
culture
you
is the
can tap
highest
into.
It's
selling thing in the world
so
right now.
many different things.
Yeah, there is. There's
Can I-
so many different things.
Our culture is the most influential, highest selling thing in the world right now.
It is.
True.
Black culture is
Yeah, I'm just
really.
here. This is
Yeah, there we go.
And this is another issue. Like, you're passing my phone back to me. I'm like, how do I trust that he's gonna pass it to me?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
That's
Bring it back.
that's where that hate comes in, because we have been
Bank.
taught hate so much.
You, that's what
We've
you
been taught to
say.
hate each other, don't like yourself, blah 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 blah. And then now, I don't trust you. Like, yeah, get me rich, but I don't care about them because they're gonna destroy it. I don't trust them. I don't.
Well, you have
You
to
know what
look
I'm
at
saying?
this. Let me jump in too. Okay. There's a picture of Jay-Z's company. What's the company? Title? Title. They have an employee picture. And Jay-Z is the only black in that employee. So Jay-Z
Beyonce
has
did.
distributed, huh?
Beyonce was there too. It was only two blacks.
That's not
You
discrediting
derailing the fucking point here. Here we go. So, okay,
Okay.
you look at this picture. Okay, he has distributed his resource, which was entertainment. He has built an empire, but he has not employed any blacks in this empire.
Because he don't trust them either.
Well, no, it's not. I don't think it's
Like
just
it's not
that.
trust.
Lack
Here
of
we go.
education.
There you go.
Talent.
Lack of
Talent.
education.
Yeah.
If I asked you guys right now to find me a local Columbia black coder who could do database and do peer-to-peer streaming upon who do you got? Boom. Off the top of your head. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Maybe Wesley, he can do everything.
I don't know.
Shout out to Toomey.
Toomey.
The only issue with that is that it's a maybe.
Yeah, but exactly. I don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay.
Keep going.
That's
Good.
the point. We
I
really
don't know
don't.
anyone.
Countdown.
Go ahead, 3.
You.
Well, maybe.
Not included.
But this is what I'm
niggas.
saying.
There's
So,
not many.
I know people.
step 1 is we need to educate our people
Yep.
in resources that are needed and wanted in the community. Jay-Z can't build a black empire because
We don't know nothing.
We're not
no.
We
I'm
haven't
not
been
saying that.
educated.
The education.
Set us
We
down.
pull it from a
We've
small
been-
pond of individuals that
Right.
are capable.
Yeah.
How
Small
do you
pool
feel?
of resources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
small pool of
And for
resources.
some reason, the more educated a black man is or a black woman, they want to work for a white man.
Well, I mean, it's a
That
wage
lack of
deal.
trust again.
If
The
you've
lack of
ever
trust.
worked in the corporate environment, like, am I gonna work for this company over here that's gonna pay me $20,000 that's black owned, or am I gonna work for this white owned company that's gonna pay me $100,000 and give me a company car and give me some benefits and give me But that comes back to distribution of wealth.
Yeah.
We have got to pull our resources to be able to sell a resource to the world. A lot of people believe in just selling. They want to just sell to black community. I don't believe in that. I have been a business owner. If I have a product and I can sell it to you guys and I can pull wealth from here, then I'm going to do that. Everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
We literally have restaurants labeled Chinese food. Like,
Correct.
Sure.
we literally have Mexican food.
Yeah.
Now, how would black people act if we Google black food and black owned restaurants? We would be mad. But they out here selling
Chinese
their
food,
They love their
resources
culture though. They
to
grew
these
up-
other cultures.
They grew up loving their culture. They grew up to, like this is us,
when
and
you
we're
walk
gonna
into
stay
a
with us.
Mexican
But
restaurant-
we grew up as, hey, watch this person, watch it, because of what our ancestors been through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a trickle. It just trickled down, like the hate, the self love, all of that trickled down into us. Like we lack that. We lack self love. We lack loving ourselves. Like everybody else love our culture, but like how much do we love our culture enough to stand by it and say, hey, we got a black restaurant right here. This
Right.
is black food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
We get
Well,
offended
listen.
like, oh, if somebody got on here black food, why they saying black food? Because
Right.
we black, and this is our food.
Right.
It's
Yes.
not-
La Fuente.
Exactly. We love Mexican food.
Love
We can't don't
Chinese
say
pan-
black.
It
Yeah.
goes back to education, though, man. The word black has such a negative connotation.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Black, it
All the way to the
incorporates
black
darkness.
jelly bean.
Right, nobody
Like
likes
that.
it. Black
Everybody like the
They made
black.
that
I
one
mean, licorice. Who wants
They made it
licorice? If
licorice
you like
on
licorice, you
purpose.
probably nasty.
that look nasty.
Why do we go by black? Then?
Right, it could have been like,
Why,
what?
like, how do we get?
At one point we were African Americans and we didn't like
Say
that.
I mean,
Depending
that's
on who you're
that's
talking to.
that's
Where we
always
from?
changed.
Israelites.
You got to think of, we got to form a collective body. You have to, like you talk about, pull the resources. That's just like back in the old days, they had bartering. You knew something, I knew something. If you need it, we trade without spending the money. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. Now, if we get back to that and the money that you could have spent that would put it in that black bank.
All right.
You see what I'm
answer
saying?
My how question.
That's the way
All
you
right.
do that.
So how do you, and if anybody knows in the comments, please let us know. How do you start a bank? How do you start a credit union? How
That's
do
the-
you start?
that's the
Because
question.
like as you were as you said, like with the phones, you were worried like, can I trust that he gonna
You're
get
right,
my
he
phone
gonna
back?
get my phone
The way that you concrete that trust is a bank. The way that you keep up with your money is a bank.
Right.
Like every other, there's Chinese banks. There are banks that are in Chinese neighborhoods in Chinatown
Right.
where they put their money. Jews have their own banks. You know what I'm saying? Amish people have a bank that they only fuck with. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see,
How do you start a
Nashville,
bank?
Nashville's got Citizens Bank. It's
Yes.
the oldest black bank in the country.
Citizens is a black bank.
Yeah.
Never,
And see, you have to turn around. You got to form the corporation and then get those folks that are like mine for working together and get their skill set and put them in there after the corporation is formed, because then you go to your board of directors.
Right.
You start narrowing those skill sets in there, putting those skill sets in there, and as long as everybody's above board and trusted, you got to be trustworthy in order to deal with something like that, because the economics is going to constantly climb. Because the more money you put in there, the more money you be able to get more money.
A bank can loan out 10
Right.
times what it's holding. So say this just how I think
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
house real quick. I'm just gonna run through real fast. Say we got 4 black business.
Go into the mic.
My bad. All right. This is what I do when I'm walking around the house thinking. So say we got 4 black businesses. We got a barber shop, a salon, a grocery store, and another black business. Whatever.
Right.
So we got 4. Then we got 4 churches, black churches, regardless of denomination. Right. We have the owners and the pastors are the board. Right. So then now the money that is taken in through the church and the money that's taken in through the businesses can go into the bank. But also if you are in the congregation of one of those churches, that influences you to go set up an account also. If you're a patron of one of those businesses, you might get a discount if you got an account. So if you get a discount, you're getting something back, and then you know that it's being watched by business-minded people, and from good-hearted people that are pure, like you was talking about. If you have that board and you know that this money is sitting here and that's gonna funnel in from customers, from congregation, from everything, now you can take that money somehow. Let's say we get 50,000, but now you can loan out 500,000. So those 4 businesses that were on the board that started it all get business loans to renovate and upgrade their business. So now that makes the community look better too. Those churches get that the church fund and building fund money. They get that now, and that's able to make theirs look good. Now you can give out loans to improve. Now that bank can take that money and put it behind a politician or something like that.
Right.
And
that's just what I think.
Very
It's true.
achievable. You have to get enough like-minded people to support it.
Trustworthy.
Exactly.
It's very. That is not far outside of anybody's scope. That's not something that's impossible. That's not something that take years to do.
Well, that's where you guys, our black leaders, come in. Because, from really big, like I know we was talking earlier, like we always think about things in a huge scope and things, but I'm just going to break it down to Columbia. We have a black preacher and we have the president of the NAACP. So just from my readings and my studies and things, humans have a cult-like mentality. We're always looking for a leader. We're always looking for someone, like when these things happen, we're like, who do we run to? Who do we call? Where's Jaylee, Brandon, Paco, George? Where's Burson? Where's Paco? I just met Paco today. So it's like, there's a few people that people in Columbia know to call, to find, to look for, and it's like to have that pool and to have that resource and knowing the fact, like today I just learned about Citizens Bank. You guys get at your next meeting like, hey, how about, everybody here, let's pick a day we go and go to the Citizen Bank and do that. Just like instead of conversating about it, instead of writing down a list, I've always been the person that's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Cool. So let's put a date, a time on it. Let's do a ridiculous flyer, because I've learned even something so small, you have to blow it up and make it ridiculous, because if you make it ridiculous, it's something to talk about. And even though it's like, we'll use a little psychology, like even though you don't know how good this is going to be for you, so I'm going to use your mentality if I just want to do something fun. So you just want to do something fun, later on it's going to help all of us. So this fun event of going to go get us an account for Citizen Bank is now going to build us wealth. But you just did it so you can take a picture. I'm in Citizen Bank.
Right.
That would be a good opening for it, because you don't even have to reinvent the wheel until you have to. Why don't everybody just go put their money in Citizens Bank and let Citizens Bank fund us until we can fund our own?
Simple.
And see, that can happen. You get better rates with a credit union where you want to probably start off.
Right, that's what I was
You get those better rates there, and then if you want to turn it into a bank, but then you want to, it's like the little micro loans they be making to these companies overseas and stuff.
Yeah.
And they turn around and they take that money and they pay it forward to somebody else to do theirs. I mean, the wheel is there. Let's not reinvent the wheel, but let's find the model.
Right.
That's it.
See,
the leader and then the action day. It's almost as simple as when I do my events, you plan it, you organize it, and you execute it.
Right.
So it's like I had met the guy, shout out to Birdsong, he set me down with the creator of the, the African Art Street Festival.
Yeah.
Right.
So of course I couldn't wait to pick his brain. I had so many questions, So he was like, I said, like, how do you put this together? And you don't have a lot of marketing, but the park, the streets, people travel from Africa all over the world to be here. And he was like, it's as simple as 5 group of people. We all are here for the same reason why we're all here. We're all here for the same reasons, and we know how we wanted to set up. And then I might be over snacks. Brandon's over entertainment. George is over, I don't know, families, making sure the women can go somewhere. Jaylee is over entertainment. Like, whatever the case may be. And it's not we're not here to say who we are in the community, like a big puff up pride type of thing, but we really want to get down to how to fix it. So I'm asking him how he does this event. He said, we get together, it's like a 15-minute meeting. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. You're going to tell me what you're going to do, and I'm going to trust in you that you're going to say what you're going to do. And then because this event is solely based on Black families, and we always have a different topic. I think he said one topic was on love and family, to the point that he had to kick one of the chamber's members off because he owed child support. So he was like, how can I have you at my board when you owe child support, when what we're promoting out to everyone else is family. So I really, that was one of the most beautiful meetings I could have ever had, because it was like finally someone who gets it. I'm okay with sitting down and having a conversation and talking and getting it out for everybody. But when we're going to plan, organize, and execute it, so that way these things can actually take place. Because when we leave here, we do need to have that event where we all go to Citizens Bank. We do need to have that fun event where we're teaching kids about being Black, and it's not you don't know who you are, you need to know this and this, and almost to the point where they hate white people. We don't want them to hate white people. That is, but most of the time when you're getting your Black education, is making you look at white people like, oh, so that's what you want.
The history is grim.
Exactly.
The history is grim.
And that's not the case, because they forget about the Underground Railroad, how Harriet Tubman could not have done what she done if she did not have those white houses to hide up underneath.
Well, see, not only that, but also the little black jockey that was in front of the house.
Yeah.
It depends on which way he went and if he had a lantern or not.
Yeah.
See, that right.
Yeah, and they had the little statues. I never knew what that statue was until somebody told me one day. I just thought it was a cool statue.
Right. I mean, and it's these things that we have to educate our children about. I mean, we can educate them so they don't hate white people, because there are good white people.
Yes.
But you teach them that you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Exactly. And you see where their heart is. Because it'll show where your heart is.
Yep.
Yes.
Out of your movements, out of your speech, whatever you do, it'll show. And see, that lets me know whether I can count on you or trust you or not.
And it starts with involvement. Like,
exactly.
You guys have to get out here and get involved in the NAACP. Get involved with JCA. Ask Jazz more questions about what's going on. Get involved in your Black churches. Like, and don't just sit there and get involved. Get involved and get active. Don't just show up to an event. I host a Juneteenth event yearly, and I'm looking for volunteers all the time, which my volunteers do show up. Shout out to y'all.
Yes.
But like, it's always such a task to even get it there. You know what I'm saying?
It's the foot.
And my whole vision with Juneteenth was, hey, let me grab all these organizations together. Everybody take a section, run their section, and we make this pop every year. But when people don't trust, or they want to, take over, it becomes a issue, and it becomes it's all on one person at that point, or one person and 5 people, and it's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be working together. We're supposed to be, just showing that
working collective.
Unity.
Showing that unity.
It's got to be collective, because by us through all the years, we've gotten separated.
Yes.
We've got separated all the way down to our food and language.
Yes.
Where we are made different.
Yeah.
But as a people, we can come together.
Most. Like,
right.
We so much hate within our own self, our own culture. Like,
you got
we
that
cannot.
Self-hate. You're right.
We're not gonna ever progress if we don't start loving each other and just showing up for each other and really putting aside emotions and like just really getting the work done, focusing on the goal and the goal only.
It was like in a meeting I was in. Excuse me for cutting you off.
You're good.
I was in a meeting, and me and this brother was together, and he left out. So this other brother's gonna start talking about it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
The brother was sitting here. You could have told him.
You
that
Told
he
him.
was sitting
Right.
It's
here.
communication.
But you let him walk out the door and gonna start talking. No, you ain't gonna do that.
And that is
When he gets
so-
back in here, then you get that conversation going. If it's something that's wrong, you correct it.
It takes courage.
And that's
Exactly.
a normal
You
thing in
have
our
to.
community. We always
have to.
talking about each other, always putting each other down. Just don't want the other one to go
It's been
ahead.
implanted. It's that
It's been
crab
planted.
barrel.
Yeah, you're right.
I believe what Paco's saying is the model that we need. That one small example Paco just made. That waited till the individual walk outside.
Yeah.
And then he started to. And then he
Put the
started-
mic in your hand. Just take it out of there.
Just hold it.
We want to
Just
hear
hold it.
you.
Yeah, just do
Don't
that.
drop it. Just hold it.
Just hold it, bro.
Oh.
That one simple example of courage, though, for him to stop that individual in the middle of what they were saying,
Yeah.
saying, "Hold on, you gonna wait till he leaves to do this? Why didn't you just address that while he was here?"
Right.
I believe that simple example is
What's needed.
what it takes to bring everything together. One of the biggest hurtful things I believe about police brutality, or even us amongst ourselves, black on black crime. People always say, "You bad, the police for killing you. What about Negroes killing Negroes?"
I hate that.
It's the same thing, and it's different. I do not agree with people when they back
It's
that.
different.
What up with that?
Death is death.
I mean, I can
Death
smack
is
my little
death.
brother in the
Death is
mouth
death.
all day, but Brandon, if you punch my little brother in the mouth, we're gonna have a problem.
Exactly.
Period. But that simple example of courage.
I just want to add to
Go
what
ahead.
you were just saying, because like cash rules everything around me. Cream.
Hey.
My taxes don't pay Crips. They pay police.
Right.
Right, exactly.
So
Right.
Thank you. That's why it's
Exactly.
So don't
different.
use
That
my
is
money.
different.
Don't you know?
Period.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's why I look at it as a difference. Like,
Well, see,
because-
see, with us, Colombia needs a paradigm shift. That's what they need, a paradigm shift.
What does that take?
It would take
What
us.
is paradigm shift for the
was
people
about to
who
ask.
don't
Paradigm.
know what that means?
Paradigms, you take it from here and you turn it over here. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah, I know what that is.
Okay.
It's sitting upright, you turn
We
it
do that.
upside down to do what needs to be done. I mean,
Hey, baby, I need a paradigm.
Use that in all aspects. Okay.
Hold up, Paco. Demario. That is not-
Right, Demario?
Talk time. Yeah, it is not no talk time yet.
Not T-Talks.
8 o'clock.
Talk shit.
That's funny.
and
Might
it
use
is
that.
because that's the only way that we're gonna get where we need to go is to create that paradigm shift. And a lot of that comes from conversation like y'all having today.
Right.
It's gonna take folks like-minded getting together, being positive, and developing that positive energy, and walking out of here with it, and bringing somebody else that's got that positive energy of like-minded folks. You got to stop the negative, and that's what keep dragging us down is the negative.
So let me
Yes, sir.
let me ask you, okay?
Yes, sir.
So to put this together, I mean, is this something we should create our own entity for? Because I understand there's level of politics that come with being part of NAACP. I understand that. So is this something that we need to go ahead and take by the reins ourselves and create our own entity to first, look at focusing on like financial literacy for adults? Because if the adults know, then they can teach the children.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then educating our people on the things that we think we need, to progress. And then from there, going into specialized little cabinets of what, like what he says he wants to do. You know what I mean? He wants,
Right.
if we educate people on financial literacy, then, that may encourage them more into his idea for the credit union, or the bank.
Okay,
You
to answer your question, excuse me, there's a lady that's regional vice president of Regents Bank right now in Nashville.
Okay.
And she told me all I have to do is let her know when she wants to have somebody come to do a financial literacy course.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying?
But that's in Nashville.
Yeah, but see, she'll send them down here.
Oh, will she?
Yes.
Yeah, she'll
Okay.
send them down here. And see, that's the one thing about being part of the NAACP. you get doors that you can go in that are already open.
Right.
You just got to walk through them.
Right. Okay.
So-
and I was just asking that because and that's nothing against you or
Oh,
your
no,
organization.
no
Okay.
problem. See,
Right.
because I don't want you to reinvent the wheel if the vehicle is already there.
Yeah, it's in motion. I got
See,
you.
I mean, you can do whatever you choose to do,
Right.
but if it's there, why not use it to get where you want to go?
Right.
Exactly.
You know,
What would a financial literacy workshop look like in a real world perspective? Or do we got to get the Baker Building? Do we need to? Are we gonna meet at a church? Is she gonna
We
be
could
there for
do-
hours? Is this a one-time thing?
Well, I mean, if we're
monthly?
focused
see-
on the black community, why don't we go ahead and
well,
get
see,
a
that's the
black-owned
thing.
building?
That's the
That's
thing
why
that
I'm asking, yeah.
I mean, you got a pastor here. My church is down in Culleoka, but then see, I got a Masonic lodge that's over here that I have the key to. You know, so it can be done. The room ain't, that's no problem of where to have it. Is if you want it, how many's going to participate,
Yes.
and you got to get hold of the connection to make that spark work.
All right.
You know, so.
I know social media is huge right now. And like for my business, for me to promote and to get my name out there, I'm always on the camera just for whatever reasons, because I know that's what I got to do to keep, because the moment, like TV, the moment we don't see it, we forget about it until out of nowhere they come back out, you know? So with NAACP, like I said, for me personally, I don't really get to see much, but I'm thinking just an idea. Maybe if you had someone that would, because like I'm so glad you're here and informing about all these things, because I don't know about those things. But when I go to the page, it's just like it's kind of looks like a government site, so it's kind of, I'm trying to figure out how to weave through it. But if I could have somebody, I'm a visual person, I like videos, if somebody would just come on every day and be like, new things in NAACP on a Monday or something like that.
That's
and then
my
they could be like,
And I'm
hey,
feeling dressed.
oh, okay, that's okay.
No, to her defense,
My bad.
for her defense, I just say she tardy.
Okay.
She ain't out the
Okay,
picture, she
I
just
think
tardy.
for me,
She just tardy.
that was,
So let me tell y'all about my life.
Yeah.
it's okay, girl. You're a mama
That's
and an
what
entrepreneur. I understand.
Okay, like,
You know, and we give.
So that would help a person
Yes.
like me, who's a visual. Like Brandon will dig deep and find it. I'm not, and that's just, I'm not the type of learner.
Right.
We're all different type of learners, so I need a visual.
And see, that's good being a researcher.
I got you. Coming
You see what I'm
Thank you,
saying? There's many different ways and facets to do different things. That's why I've been trying to get young folks to come into the NAACP. We get it where it needs to go. You get to these conferences. You get to a national. When you go to the national NAACP, you meet the folks that you want to know.
Yep.
The same people you see on TV walking around, you can go up there and walk and conversate with them. Find out what it is you need to find out. Somebody always knows somebody else. See what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just
Your
like,
network.
Your network.
Your
Yes.
network is your net worth.
yes,
Yeah.
you know, because like this young lady, she works for the federal government. We just saved her job. She had to ride to Murfreesboro, while her boss lived up in Kentucky and was what you call it, teleworking all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
She had to go to Murfreesboro all the time. Not no more. About the time we got finished, a senator helped take care of that.
Right.
Lovely. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And just like for me, in my position with the NAACP, like it took some time for me to get, I'm a trusting person. I gotta feel it out. I gotta, and that's my bad for not, taking.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it's all a time thing. It's a new experience for me. But that's why I want to build a team for bright ideas like that. Because I'm over here like just sharing, posting stuff here and there, but. It's not like, hey, I want to get on. I'm not a camera person.
I know you're
camera.
always behind the camera,
And everything I do is about camera, and it's so crazy. Like
you taught me to get on that.
exactly.
I can't let this go. I'm sorry. So if we know, thank you. If we know that all right. So you have a link that will do financial literacy classes. A space is not a problem to have to commandeer. What is a timeline? What is a realistic? If we were to be like, all right, I'm gonna tell my whole congregation for a month, that financial literacy classes are coming. We're going to say on the podcast for a month that financial literacy classes are going on. She's going to start doing her job and making videos. I'm playing.
No, you're right.
That financial literacy is going on. T-Talk show is going to be talking about it. Then how fast can we get that going? How fast can we get the first class actually going?
I believe it would depend on the responses.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it would just depend on the facilitator and the one doing the
got
teaching.
we
got
already
to
responding.
make it around
Yeah.
several different people schedules. So, scheduling would be a part of it, because if you hype the class up enough and enough people want to come, then you have more people to take in consideration.
Right.
So you might not even want a class with 200 people. You just might want to do a couple classes with 15. Depending on, again, the facilitator, the person teaching the class,
building,
the availability. It depends, but none of it is impossible.
Okay. We all agree step one is educating, correct?
Yes.
Come on.
Okay.
I love when you
I'm gonna take a little guide here. So the things we need to do this is we need to figure out our topics. I say educate the adults before the kids because I just feel like the adults would be more receptive to it, and they can teach their own children. They can pass that along. But we need the facility. You say you have access to facilities.
Yeah.
So if we put this in motion, these classes in motion, I mean, we need to get the word out there for them. And we need to make decisions on what we need to teach first. Now, for everybody that's just tuning in, okay, I'm going to take a little control for a minute here, guys. Okay. For everybody that's just tuning in, this episode is about what to do now. Because I personally feel like after current events, our world is changing. We're not here to talk about these current events necessarily, maybe lightly dust on it, but we're to talk about what are we doing now. We have just flexed and exercised our power, exercised our allies, and what are we going to do now? And we have come together. Step one, educate. Okay?
I don't know if I don't remember exactly how you said that, exercise our allies or whatnot. I don't know if we're through with that part yet.
Oh, and we may not be, but in the end, we have seen that we have people protesting with us. This isn't about this is about Black African American structuring the episode, okay, and what we need to do to structure. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, with the, there's more than just us protesting for us and aiding us, and I love that and I appreciate that. Yes. But we need a structure in place. And in this group, we're not talking on a national level, okay? Even though you may be in another community watching, great. But we're talking about in our community here, where we are now, Murray County, okay? That's why we don't have national guests here. These are everyone plays a part in the community in Murray County here that's amongst us now. So, what did you write down there?
No, I'm just keeping with what
what education. Okay.
Yeah, so we have education workshops by way of financial youth history programs like from the Juneteenth. That's just what I put on there. And then mentorship. That's just something I just feel like kids need to be trained in professional settings by entrepreneurs. I think TT's Barbershop should have 2 boys sweeping the floors and learning about books. I feel like Omega's Market should have 3 girls in the back, like just learning some shit.
Yeah, that comes with that involvement though. And then there's organizations already established that you can go and mentor kids. I mentor the Boys and Girls Club. I haven't been doing it this year that much. Well, COVID.
But is it working?
Yeah.
Is this stuff working?
Well,
okay.
I would say it is because the kids actually come to you and say, "Hey, I did what you told me in class, and now I got this." Like I'm seeing results, which is why I'm trying to change my field altogether. That's why I've been working. Anyway,
an idea I think that a lot of people struggle with is like, okay, we have after school programs. We have Boys and Girls Clubs and stuff. But we have a lot of single Black moms that just can't even afford that stuff unless they're, and can you imagine if these trades and things that you're talking about, if we could pick them up after school, we had a facility,
that'd be nice.
And we just taught them these things, like, Billy the plumber's here today to teach you about not clogging the toilet. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it may be.
Or learning, or Billy the plumber teaching you how to fix when you clog.
Right, exactly.
And that, I mean, for me, it was boxing.
Okay.
Shout out to Dr. Hines, he saved my life.
Shout out.
Yes.
For real.
Yes.
That's the doc.
That's the doc.
Shout out to Doc.
I love you, man. But for me, it was boxing. I had anger, but I had something to do that between 15 and 22 kept me off the streets, and I was still able to punch people in the face. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was my thing. That
Your
made
relief.
My release. And in turn to that, we had our first boxing camp, youth boxing camp last year, and that was my first time being a coach. So that's like a trickle down. But the same way how we teaching them to respect themselves, respect others, defend themselves. If there's a boy, and I just keep going to barber because that's the most prominent black business that I know down here. But if he knows how to barber, he can make money to help his household, and that all leans on him. His learning is also based on his school performance or something like that. That can keep him off the streets because he got a way to make money. He has a way to still see his folks, still see his friends and everything. But he has a craft now because trades are leaving schools.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm just like,
But the need for them is not.
It's crazy.
We still need welders.
Who are the essential workers?
Can you imagine if we took 10 black kids and made them welders?
Oh my gosh.
Good.
Sure.
That's
You know what I mean? Just 10 in our community.
Bro, that's 3 businesses.
Right.
That's 3
Or
businesses.
skilled trade jobs at GM.
Yeah. And
You
see,
know?
even with that GM thing, at that time, I was on the E-board, and we were getting with the Board of Education to get that to happen.
Right.
Where they would start trying to get this stuff, these trades, into the schools.
Right.
And I've been out of I don't know if you know Guy Derryberry, but he was essential in trying to do a lot of that.
My father did campaigns with Guy Derryberry.
Okay.
Because let me tell you why. Because if you took a picture of him, if he was standing near Hispanic folks, he looked Hispanic. If he was standing near black folks, he looked black. If he was standing near white folks, he looked tan. You know what I mean? Like he always used them. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there. Like he was talking about the mentorship. See, I'm part of the Knights of Prince Hall, which is our mentorship for Prince Hall Mason.
Hold on, just a second. Could you please help her with that?
I'm sorry. I didn't.
It's sending all kind of
have any of y'all ever
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, see, I'm part of the Knights of Prince Hall. I'm a Prince Hall Mason.
Okay.
And our youth group is called the Knights of Prince Hall.
Right.
It was once called the Knights of Pythagoras.
Right.
But around the rest of the country, it's known as that. We are the only ones in the country that's known as the Knights of Prince Hall.
Okay.
And see, that is our mentorship program because our kids were taken away. Well, the middle passage was taken away from them. The path from boyhood to manhood. And that's the thing that we got to reinstill. And that's part of what you were talking about with the mentorship. See, it's the rites of passage.
Rites of passage.
And that's what we have to teach our kids. And see, we're trying to get that built up here because right now there are 3 other consuls that's in Tennessee. And see, we've got to be able to get it to where we can spread it across the country. But right now we're in the former stages here in Columbia.
Right.
I just got to get the rest of the other brothers together.
Okay.
They don't have to be a Mason to be one of the mentors. We prefer it.
Right.
And then the kids aren't taught to be Masons, but they got the chance to become one once they become of that age.
Right.
See,
Do
so
you
there's
guys
different-
have someone, because I like how when, like, education, planning, organizing, executing, like, and of course those are like, let's say, steps and everything. But I always like to think about the emotional state of us and things. So during these mentorships, will we have someone to teach them how to reground themselves when they're at their angriest, when they had to face racism, when they're having to face obstacles and, like, yes, some things, you can't look away, like what's happened here recently, but some things can be walked away from.
Right.
And then having to go home and not feel like your dignity has not been taken away from you because you did not stand up for your black self. Because today I don't feel like fighting, I'm just going to walk away today. But then when I go home, I have to sit here and think like, I'm still a black woman. I can still be proud that I didn't sit here and act like this person wanted me to act. Like, I feel like that is the most important part, because regardless of like whatever steps we put in place, you have to have a sound mind, body, and spirit with any decision making. Because if your mind is clouded, if you're upset, or let's say depressed, even depression, or let's say overly excited, like when we go to the store and just buy something off impulse and realize we really didn't need it. So we didn't say something out the way we shouldn't have said, just because today I was just feeling good, but now I kind of like, dang, I really shouldn't have said it like that. I could have said it in a nicer way. So during these mentorships, I feel like we should have somebody who teach meditation, yoga, mental health, and then knowing like how Brandon said, I have anger. He didn't try to give an excuse. He didn't say, oh, I should work on my anger. He didn't say, well, I don't know where this anger comes from. No, I have anger, and punching people in the face makes me feel good. So I go box.
So I'm not walking away from everything. She said what she said. You can get your issue with me. You want to let that be known. All of us ain't there yet.
I'm just saying. I feel like that should be just as important as the education.
The mental health, most definitely. Yeah, because we have to learn how to channel that.
Exactly.
And that's what you're looking at, on how to channel that, so we don't do a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes.
And that's what we do too many times, is do a knee-jerk reaction, and then we gonna have to pay for it on the other end. You know, whether it's doctor bills or the bail bondsman or the court costs, you got to be able to try to think things through, and they have to be taught to walk away until you put your hands on me.
Exactly.
When you put your hands on me, that's a different story.
Personal.
Self-defense.
Personal.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
self-defense.
But I'll take this energy and I'll channel it in a different way. I'll go home and focus on something that'll help benefit me.
And the way you can say that, someone else might not know that yet.
Right.
And then when they're trying to explain it to me, like, I just got so mad, I just didn't know what to do with myself, you know? But it's just like, but it's nice to hear somebody say, I got so mad, I left, I wrote up a report, I sent it to 8 different people, and these people called me, now I'm on the news, and now I'm making people realize what's happening in the world. Taking that same energy from wanting to punch somebody in the face to want them to send out some letters and make some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but they're both feel good, you know?
Something me and
get them out with.
And see,
me and Brandon discuss this all the time about different ways to skin a cat.
well, see, did you think about this though? You've always been taught a cat got 9 lives, right?
Right.
Yes.
But you got to skin his first one to get to the other 8.
Right. That's true.
And you always got to remember that.
Right.
You still got 8 more layers to go.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what happened to like the, brothers and, what was it called? Brothers and sisters, or the mentorship program. That's what I'm saying. There's different.
I remember that. I remember
That's
hearing
why
about
there's so many different programs.
There's some comments here that were talking about financial peace classes.
Yes.
Or something like that.
That's why it's stuff out here. We just gotta grasp it.
He's right off of 65. Dave
Okay.
Ramsey.
And they were like, it was some other comments about like mentorship programs, doing apprenticeship, and there's one lady, Julie Gordon, shout out to you. She said she'll do classes.
Yeah, I know Julie.
Yeah, so she said she'll do classes.
What's up, Julie?
And it's that fast. You know what I mean?
that fast.
I don't know what financial peace is, but they said it's great. But
It sounds great. It sounds
Yeah.
peaceful. Sounds like I'm not in debt.
Some people use it. Some people have used it.
Either you got money and happy, or you broke and
Period.
happy.
That's how.
Either way, you at
exactly
peace.
what I took it as.
I'm broken. Happy. Don't worry about it.
So what would we say phase 2 in this would be?
Politics.
Step on politics?
Has to be.
Well, first we have to educate people. So many people think it's just the president and it's just this and that. And a lot of people want to blame other organizations, blame and say this is the government and this and that. So we have to educate them on the political system.
I think people forget that those people were brought up in a household just like me and you.
Right.
So it's like, look at their parents. Most people, when a child does something good, they be like, who's your mama? Where your mama at?
Right.
Where that woman at? Who raised you? You know? So really, you should just look at the people that you're, respecting or not respecting. Look who raised them. Figure out what their tactics were, because that's just the art of war. Instead of trying to figure out, instead of living in fantasy and being upset at the situation, sit down. What is the word for it? Do a diagnostic.
And that's
why is this
literally-
person doing better than me? Like y'all, when y'all was talking, I have nothing against Trump. I think the man is a genius. Do I agree with the things he do? Heck
Morally
no.
incorrect.
But the fact that y'all was able to sit down and tell us why he's doing so good. You know, it wasn't like, oh, he's doing a great job. No, he's doing a great job because he reads this, because he says this, because he uses these resources, and that he's using this propaganda. He's a smart man.
Right.
So it's like, how can we do that exact same thing?
We can.
There's this. I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a black mayor, first black mayor in Stockton, California. He does this. He does the same thing. He's like 26-year-old. Like he's super young. Okay, you know about him? I heard about him on the radio, and he talks about he started I guess a policy. It's called Seeds Factors, and he has a group called Peacekeepers, and they have seen their crime drop 40% in their town. And he sits down, he goes to the people who is causing all the crime or having issues in the neighborhood. He'll sit down with the leaders of those gangs or the leaders of whoever,
Smart.
the chief of police, and like some other board members. They all sit down with this person and like, hey, what's wrong? Like, what's going on?
What's the issue?
How can we fix it? He wants this because his thing is like, hey, if you want to cause crime here, that means there's crime in here. You know what I'm saying? Like you're dealing with self issues, and we can fix those self issues to prevent this issue over here. And he literally dropped his crime rate 40%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And
That's
that's just him sitting down talking, like you said, talking,
Let's talk about it.
getting a diagnostic.
It's
figuring
not
out what's
enough
going on.
mayors that care that much, though.
Yeah.
That's
the problem.
Say that again with the mic up.
You don't have enough mayors that care that much. I even love what the mayor of Clem, Chaz Moulder, I believe his name is. He does. He's very active in the community. Love it. But that you don't have enough mayors that care that much about our people.
Chaz,
if you want to sit there and shoot
TT.
and kill yourself, or you want to shoot there and kill one of your brothers, that's okay. You just gonna go to jail when you get through doing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
The second pack. Yeah.
But that's great. That's something great for everybody. That's something that people can look up now to see what that mayor is doing, and hopefully that'll sound an alarm to some other mayors to be like, man, just go sit down and see what they want.
Yeah.
Well, see, right now, I've been talking with one of the chief ones, and it was Vice Mayor Krista Martin, and she was saying that where have y'all been? You know, she wants y'all to be able to help enrich the community, but she looks around and she doesn't see anyone.
Who's the y'all? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Who's the y'all?
Yeah.
The y'all. Well, who's?
Black folks that are educated that want to see our people get ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it, we may know something, but we don't have the wherewithal to seek out the person that needs that help.
Well, let's be honest, because we like I was saying before the show, we have to start acknowledging what we know.
Yeah,
We
most
know
definitely.
something, we gotta acknowledge that we know something. Stop playing dumb.
This is,
Educated black people of the younger generation are leaving Columbia.
yeah,
They're
yes.
leaving.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
but past that, the reason why they're leaving because there's deep-seated racism
Oh,
here.
most definitely.
There's very
Institutionalized racism.
Institutionalized racism that is still prevalent. Trevor Armstrong's case is still unsolved. Trevor Armstrong's case is still unsolved. I'm just gonna keep saying that. But there is deep-seated racism here, and so they choose to leave instead.
Right.
Because
Right.
and I
So
can't
broke.
blame them.
Right.
But he was 26 years old and black, right?
Black.
So that goes into the youth, and that goes into blacks getting involved with politics. But now you need black, educated, youthful people to be able to accomplish that on a local level. But they're all leaving because of the deep-seated racism that is so apparent here. So now that's a whole different matter.
Exactly.
It's great that it happened in Stockton, California, but Stockton didn't have mink slide. You know what I mean? So it's issues
That
here
is a
locally
lesson.
that we have to address. We got to stop
Right.
acting like we don't know Mule Day's racist.
Right.
So we can actually keep people in here so we can affect change. Because as long as we keep going along with the lie, if you don't want to go along with the lie, they move to Murfreesboro, Nashville, Atlanta, Chattanooga, Memphis. We are too close to other places with it. They ain't got to deal with with a small town and racism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right,
So it's other
right.
things you have to deal with.
That's
I
a
mean-
deep rabbit hole to crawl
for
in
real.
to think about the racism of the South,
a
or to
big
think
one.
about the racism here in Columbia, Tennessee. I mean, with just some of the surrounding sources and some of the things that affect us here that we know about and we don't know about, like that's a big rabbit hole to climb in. When you go back to the 40s, right after World War II, when those troops came back home, when you think about how that was just 70 years ago and how that was somebody's grandfather.
Yes.
That was somebody's father that's still alive that was harmed by a black man that was just trying to defend himself. But we were just animals at the time.
Right.
We wasn't real people. You got to think they have grandkids, great grandkids that are still alive and well. Now, I mean, just 45 minutes down the road is where the KKK originated.
Right.
They still march every year, sometimes twice a year,
Yes.
because they have their functions and meetings. Like systematic racism and institutionalized racism when it comes to the South is one of the big reasons that the South is even the way it's still. I mean, this is even a Google fact. I mean, Mississippi just now accepted with, I think it's the 13th Amendment that set the slaves free. They just now accepted that amendment in the early 2000s. Which means that I don't know if that means it was considered legal to have slaves there at that time, but I do know that means they did not accept that amendment.
Right.
And that's right down the street.
Right.
I mean, we're right above Alabama. I mean,
Right.
we don't even have to go into the things that Alabama does. So that's
Right.
that's a whole nother.
Or even not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but like even if we don't want to talk about from the 40s or the 70s or the 80s, wait a minute. It's May. What is it? May 31st. The National Confederate Museum just opened up this past week. They just had the grand opening on the 23rd in Columbia. All those statues, all that hubbub was about, are here now. That so it's not like we don't even have to harp on the
$6 million building.
Why are you? How can you tell a 10th grader who has a 3.5 GPA know they can get scholarships to stay where they have the National Confederate Museum and try to affect some change?
So all the ones they
That's a
took
hard-
down, they
you
just
have
left
to-
out the museum of it.
Hard.
Black
This whole
people.
museum, this National Confederate Museum, is right down the road. It's down the road from Bowling.
I'm sorry. Black people are too forgiving, and we back down too easily.
Say it again.
We don't want to fight.
Yep. They don't know.
But see,
We don't
there's
want to fight.
when you
Probably
go,
the fear of dying. Like they burnt up our black
It's a
Wall
right
Street. They
and it's a
killed so
wrong
many
thing.
of us
It's a
for
right.
years.
It's a right and it's a wrong way to do everything. When Martin Luther King went out to the streets to protest peacefully for policy change, people got hurt, but change happened. When you fight for change, you're not fighting for change for yourself.
Exactly.
We fighting for our kids.
My grandbabies.
right.
We fighting for our kids.
Yeah.
So even if we do go out in the street and get hurt because we want to stand there peacefully and demand a change, when people decide that they're going to turn their back and go home because they tired, because they got to go to work in the morning, because they got to take care of their kids, they have all of these other things that's going on.
Yes.
And so we sleep on the issues that's going to keep us plagued for many more years down the road.
Because it's not at our doorstep yet.
It's at our doorstep. It's at our doorstep.
I feel like it's one of those things for us until it's one of our brothers or papas or our uncles.
I have a question.
Armstrong's case is still unsolved.
My cousin.
I have a question. Why does Columbia, Tennessee have an FBI building?
Exactly. It's right there,
Because
middle
of
The
downtown.
Federal Bureau of Investigation buildings are only in major cities. Why does Columbia, Tennessee have an FBI building?
Okay.
And why do people drive by the FBI building every day and don't know it's an FBI building? They just
Where
think
is
it's a
that? I don't
courthouse.
Right across the street from Alexander Mattresses on downtown.
Oh, you talking
Right
about the
by
Fed
the
building, the old Fed building?
fireplace.
Is
Right
that
by
still
the
in
fire
use?
They
department.
probably
Yes,
have an
it's
office
still in
in there.
use. Yes.
They might have an office in there. I know they have a Homeland Security here.
It doesn't have a,
I
it's
know
like a
that.
That's
title.
two
Homeland
federal agencies.
Security here.
That's two federal agencies.
Why do we have that in Columbia, Tennessee?
Mink Slide was very dangerous, and they don't forget it.
anyway.
It was very
I mean,
different.
We getting off on a whole
Different tangents.
whole nother day of talking. So, Brandon, you had said politics was step 2. Why did you say politics, and how would you advance that?
Because the like somebody just commented, the county commission has meetings all the time. And we have no black representation there, is because when I was at Juneteenth and Bucky Rowland came and he was shaking hands and everything, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's not." Who he run against? The guy that everybody said was racist.
Barnes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sam Barnes.
Sam Barnes. They were like, "Oh, well, he ain't Sam Barnes, bro. He the one we need." And I was the only one that was like, "No, I don't care, because I ain't never voted before. I don't know Sam Barnes and I don't know you. What you gonna do for black people?"
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't know none of y'all.
Brent, do you know you could be the sheriff?
You have to put them to it.
I ain't trying to be no.
And that's what I'm
If
saying.
you was to run and get elected, you could be the sheriff. See, that's the thing about this that frustrates me is we can get mad all day about who the sheriff is. But if we want a Negro to be the sheriff, why don't a Negro run to be the sheriff?
Right.
If we want a
That's why I
Negro
think
in
that's
office,
too.
that's the thing I believe education is so important for, because we don't even know that the only thing you have to be is like 30, 35 to be a mayor. You
Right.
don't have to have a certain degree. You don't have to have a certain job. All you got to be is 35 and qualified.
Yep. That's why I think
Wow.
step 2 should be involvement. It should be
That's
education,
what
Definitely.
involvement.
So involvement in
and then
politics
taking,
can go together.
taking major roles in the community as far as, you know,
But what roles? What
what he
roles?
just said, like, what you just say?
Sheriff, right?
Sheriff, yeah.
All right, so
I mean-
so we have
my
that,
mind.
so sheriff, but now you need a viable candidate.
Yeah.
How do we find?
Well, see, that's the
viable
trick.
candidate?
That's the trick right there, because
We educate them.
coming up
Get them
Educated.
involved.
in this November, you're gonna be voting on some local offices.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. And see, we need folks that say that they feel like they want to run, have the heart to run, and then once we vet them, then we turn around and we back them.
Yeah.
And see, that's like on that sheet there. It's the voter registration, voter education. See, there's a lot of different things that you have access to, but you got to get in it, know what's going on, become aware of those issues, and put them out there.
Right.
Just like at the city council meetings. Okay? More than 3 black people show up, they wonder what they want now.
Yes.
And you can affect change there.
You got 10 that show up dressed in all black. It'll scare the hell out of
You see what I'm saying? And not only there, county commission, and then they have the
We
subcommittees.
don't want to scare them. We just want them to respect the
But
fact that
they
they're black.
will,
We black, they gonna
because
get scared.
the reason why, not only do you, because you're there,
Like, question,
you
why
showed
they here?
up.
What they want?
See, it's different than talking the talk than walking the
Yeah.
walk. When you show up makes the difference. Because first thing in here, why they here?
Yep.
And don't say nothing. You just listen.
Gotcha.
You listen. You come back and you listen. And then when you need something, well, we got you. We need you to do this. Because when you have a voting block, you can get a lot done. And that's what has happened in Colombia in the earlier years. Our vote can be a voting block
How do you create a voting block?
by registering and going to vote.
We're both
Registering,
registered, we
educate,
just don't,
and going to
so-
vote.
A voting block
So what?
means your vote. You got enough votes that it matters.
They will
All right,
come
so
to
once you
you.
have a voting block, is there somebody that goes in y'all stead and like
No.
I have these people here
Yes.
or
Yeah.
okay, all right,
Because you ain't got to go to them. They come to you.
all right. But when
Because they
come
want
to
your vote.
us-
You're like the swing vote.
all right. So when they come to us, who's the person at the table sitting down talking for that voting block?
Whoever you choose.
Okay.
It's kind of like when presidential candidates go to Michigan and they target the union members and the auto workers and the industrial. That's same thing.
Or
Right.
coming to
I'm
the
just trying to
churches.
figure out how they.
You don't see them till they come to the church.
How does a voting
And then they
block
leave. You don't see them.
delegate
Joey
the
Vince.
people that
Hey,
talk?
get your voting and gone.
Hold on, y'all. What'd you say?
How does a voting block delegate the people that's going to talk? And how does a voting block ensure change? You know what I'm saying? Like what do we hold them? What issues do we hold them to? You know what I mean? Like with different office, it'll be different demands, or do we want? Or does a voting block just want something
I think
across the
demands are
board?
important. We should never
Right.
ever expect one person to change everything.
Right.
We should, as a collective, figure out what we expect from this
Exactly.
person, and if they don't do it, then
Then we don't vote for them.
Exactly.
You have demands,
we need-
and if you
Black
can't meet my
initiatives.
demands,
Certain
you
Yeah.
can't
people
have
in
my
certain
vote.
positions.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
you come together as a committee.
Okay.
Okay. You create that block. Everybody, we're gonna vote for this particular person because this how they are on what we stand for, what we want. okay, and you and your friends, everybody's on the same page. Two people in the same house can't vote two different people. You're defeating your purpose because you split that vote.
Right.
And when you create that voting block, you are part of a swing vote.
Right.
What they call the swing vote.
Yes.
Now, if you don't do what we need, we're going to talk to so-and-so anyway.
Okay.
But if you do it, we got you. We see, and the results show that you prove true.
Yes.
We got you the next time. Because otherwise you'll just be one term.
Building relationships.
Exactly.
We need to figure out a way just like that, man, to go to those people. And again, I want to go back to, we got to figure out how to put our own people in office. We need to get together as people and have a list of demands that we want already. Like, the only way you're going to get my vote is if you address X, Y, and Z issues.
So
that's what you're supposed to have.
Definitely.
That's what you're supposed to have.
What would be the
But there
issues
is a
that
black
need to be
agenda
addressed?
out here
Right.
that people aren't
The
even
issues that
aware
need to
of
be
from
addressed.
our
What would that list
it's,
of demands even look like?
the African descendants of
Slave
slavery.
trade.
If they
They
fit,
have a black agenda that
if
they're
they
demanding.
fit what the needs are in Colombia, that's grand. You know, right? Exactly that model. But see, what we got to do, we got to get folks registered to vote and get them to a class to where everybody stays on the same page. So when you go to approach these candidates, or the candidates come to you because you picked your representatives to speak to that individual.
So, I think, as progressive as I am with all this, I think the best way to do this would almost be an app. Everyone has smartphones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Connect.
that's a great
So
option.
for the future people, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, Paco, in your age group, like they wasn't feeling Bernie Sanders. They weren't going to vote for him, even though I felt like that was the best choice. They didn't feel like that because they felt like it was too. It's really hard for us to swing progressive ideas and things to them. But as for the younger generation and the new people coming up, I think an app where, boom, we can send one notification out and let everybody just register. The number one, you have to encourage people to register.
Oh, for sure, and they do have an app that'll go and let you know who your legislator is and send messages straight to them. That's called a 5-star.
Right, but
I've got that on my phone.
Can you say that again for people that want to?
It's called the 5-star app, where you can be directly connected to your legislator.
Okay.
right.
And see, we have to make ourselves known in these places. And that's one reason why the NAACP has Lobby Day, where you go up on the hill and you meet with these legislators and you talk with them and get a feel for them. Because one day you might need them
When
and
the
they might need you.
NAACP has lobby day, I'm sorry. When the NAACP has lobby day, are only NAACP members made known of that day?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, because nobody else is there at the meeting.
Right.
All right.
You know, and we get notification. We got NAACP Lobby Day like February 3rd.
Right.
We tell all our members. Members come from all over the state, and we take a bus or ride up to the Capitol.
Right.
And then that's where we meet inside the big chamber that you see.
Right.
We meet there, and they have certain legislators talk with us, and we can talk with our legislators
Okay.
like that.
Now, when I said an app, I meant beyond that. Let's say we had a community app, okay? Let's say our app was called Equal or Unity or
Okay,
something.
write this down, Brandon.
Right.
Let's say this app,
Note taker.
we all registered, and, you know, NAACP stuff, you send us the information for that. We blast it out. You know, it goes out to everybody that registers. You know, we've had this issue with this business and African Americans. Boom, it blasts out. You know, it goes out. We know we're all connected to communicate. You know, and they like right now they have blacklisted Black Lives Matter hashtags on everything. You know, anything like that. We know. Boom, we're doing a blackout on this day, or hey, this place is hiring, or hey, we're doing financial literacy.
I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
And
And
actually, you can make a
You
Facebook page and people just turn on their notifications for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, start.
I
Use
know.
what you got.
I'm just saying, start with something.
Right.
But I really like that
I
idea.
feel like that.
But I know why,
So
why he's responding like this. We've made pages before for the community, like doing the strike and everything, the work recovery. So it does need to be more.
It can't be. It needs to be its own entity. And the
Oh,
reason,
most definitely.
the reason I
Most
say
definitely.
this is because if we have our own app, that push notifications, even if we have like a social media aspect to it, okay, then we're running in our own lane. But in Facebook,
They can shut you down,
well,
cut the whole
not even
post
that.
away.
That's not even the thing. You get lost in the sea of.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We're running. Oh, here's so and so's birthday party, and here is so and it's on.
Distractions.
Then you've got a crowd
Daily
running
life.
in this lane. But when you get that notification from that
Equal.
the Equal app, boom! Oh, that's Equal. I need to see what that
Yep,
is.
that's how you move
That's
fashion over.
local, and that's me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think that part would be a way to connect us and be like, okay, everyone signs up, everyone knows the same information.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
connected.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, see, we do that, with our group meeting.
Yep.
So everybody knows what's going on at the same time. So nobody's left out in the dark.
Yeah.
And see, too, we got to be able to get to where we start having report cards on these folks on the county commission and the city council and like that.
In 2016 we had a vote, right? And I looked it up, and I just looked up the votes, the number of votes, because I wanted to know how many votes you needed to be elected into something locally around here. And no one got more than, until they got mayoral, but no one, even sheriffs, got more than 1,000 votes. It was the less than 1,000 votes that decided who was going to be in charge.
Oh wow.
How much work would it actually take to get a voting block with the numbers required to be? I mean, like for instance, the board of education.
Yeah.
He had 200 votes. He had like 200 something votes. That's all. That's all.
Well, see, that's
Some
So
churches
involving.
have more than that on a Sunday.
right.
You know what I mean?
And see,
That's how you know it's easy to do.
The thing about
And
what
you
you're
can do it.
talking about is viable, but you got to understand that for that school board member, they come out of certain wards. So it's who in that wards vote for that particular individual. When you understand where those
Oh, I see.
boundaries are. See,
Right.
and that way, I mean, because you can see on the map, and if we got people in those boundaries,
Yes.
then those will be the ones that get that person into that seat.
Yes.
And you can go down to the election commission and say, well, I want for the past 2 elections, the past 2 local elections and the past president's election. And you get all the results right there. You can get it broken down even more if you want to pay the money. See what I'm
do you go
saying?
again for that?
You go down to the county election commission.
All right.
Yeah, that's right down here. Todd Baxter is the election committee chairman.
Todd Baxter.
Todd Baxter. He's over the election.
You're gonna be seeing me, Todd.
Yeah, see, and that
Todd, I'm
way
coming for you.
you can get those documents. Now it depends on how much and what documents you want. You might have to pay a little money,
All right.
but just to get the finals, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
just
get the primaries and the final election.
because if you know that it only took 215 votes to get the head of the school board
Right,
elected,
right.
and you got 275 people in a voting block, and you come sit down, like,
Hello.
I got enough people to make sure you get knocked out,
Hello.
and it ain't that many.
Right,
So,
right.
so what
So
you
what if you get 500?
So where's the black
What you
agenda?
want to do?
If you get 500,
Exactly.
you can really start calling some shots.
See, and that's one
least
reason.
locally.
That's one reason why
That's
it's
what counts.
important to vote.
We only
To
need
register.
500 times.
To
That's
register.
it.
It's
Come
power
on,
and unity.
right.
Register.
I got 5,000 on my wall alone. Like,
You see what I'm saying? I mean, because that's how you affect change, because all politics is local,
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things about us black folks, excuse me, everybody. But anyway, about our
Black folks.
kids is that we've got to turn and make sure that education system gets us above the 3 and 5 percentile at the bottom of the row in the state. There's no reason that we should be down there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, getting down to the root of it and what we're gonna do and what's the step and what's gonna be next. The kids, I've been saying this. Like,
Right. Well,
I love kids. Kids are our future. You know, now we're trying to get adults to understand, but age group, I would start at like 8. So when they can start actually recalling and collecting,
Understanding.
because
8's a great age.
most
I love
adults
stats. I'm waiting on my son to
cups
turn 8
are
right now.
extremely full. We know everything. There's not much you can tell me. And most of the time, like today, you're here, I want to know more about the NAACP, where somebody else will be like, I know everything I need to know. This. Their cup is full, mine isn't. So with kids, they're always half full. They might think they know everything, but they're a sponge and they're ready to learn. And like how you
Exactly.
said, wanting to get the youth involved, why not as adults? Instead of focusing on adults as we do as a whole. Every time we want something to change, we think we're going to get this man or this woman to do it, when reality, these little teenagers are becoming adults.
Paradigm
So
shift.
why don't you find a
Hell yeah.
teenager that you know, and instead of just watching it, why don't you be like, hey, mom, dad, we see this in your child. We wouldn't mind creating let's say a community support. And because it's not saying that I'm going to knock out the rest of the kids, but we always know that special kid, you know,
Kids that excel.
and we always knew it when they was younger, you know, and when you see it, why not nurture it, care
Exactly.
for it, love for it? And like Jaylee said, yes, it's hard to put that trust in something, and knowing that when this little black kid gets older, that he's going to be for the people, and not feel like, well, now that I've gotten to a certain social status, now the white people are going to take me in off the money off these group of black people. Of course, it could go left or right, you know. But if I feel like if it's a genuine amount of love that is coming into this individual, then that's how we get our sheriff, we get our politicians, we get our doctors, we get our nurses. Because a lot of us, when we get to those positions, we did it on our own. We didn't even have family to back us. We might have had 3 or 4 family members, that favorite cousin, but we've never could say we got a whole community. That's why the kids who have gone, well, we're not kids anymore, but the ones who left Columbia, they did it on their own. They don't want to come back to Columbia and help out the people who did nothing for them.
Right. Until they get old.
Until they get old, and they come back home. And then now they're trying to breathe that life into the kids or the teenagers that are here, and they're not really paying much attention, because it's like, I haven't seen you. Where you been? Where you come from?
Right.
Okay, great.
I think this piggybacks on, man, like, I hope from this conversation we can see, like, how important it is for them to make sure we keep fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
Because if they never give us the opportunity to come together as a unit, as a people, through things of propaganda or whatnot, wherever you want to put it, if they can keep us fighting, we'll never be able to accomplish things like this.
If we can get ourselves to stop believing the hype.
Exactly.
That too.
If you can get us from stop believing the hype and understand where we should be focusing our energies, we can do whatever we want to if we put our mind to it, right?
Education.
Education and communication.
It's just like
what we fight over, like how we fight so much over money. Y'all know they print money and burn money every day.
Yep.
And
Right.
we
Every
sit
day.
back and we kill each other in the street for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
You do that and you fight over turf, and it ain't even yours.
It's not
Right.
even
Somebody
ours.
else on the
And
ground.
we still gotta
I
pay
never
tax on
understood
it.
that.
You know,
Never understood it.
it's just like
Goodness
when
gracious.
we were taking kids on these historical black college tours, the black universities also, finding out what are they looking for, what do they want to see, when do they need to start trying to groom themselves in order to get into that university, what are you looking for? And I found out that it's in the 9th grade. If you get them straight in the 9th grade and they start making good grades in the 9th grade, you know, any kid is going to try to get out of school at 12th grade.
Yeah.
They trying to book out. But if you get them at the 9th grade and their grades are stellar all the way up,
They'll
then
be
that college is
excited.
going to look at them. If they get out there doing community service, you know, or they get out there helping other folks, and it's all recorded, you teach them to have a resume. You see what I'm saying?
And they'll be excited about school
exactly,
because they don't feel like they're
exactly.
struggling.
You know,
Teach 'em and train 'em.
right? And see, when I was coming up, when you went to summer school, it was a bad thing. Okay, you flunked, you made bad grades. But now
It truly was.
it's called enrichment, summer enrichment, and that's the way we have to push our kids looking at it as summer enrichment, because they're taught with at the kids that are just a few ages above them that are in college. So that makes them want to aspire even more. And they see somebody that looks just like them trying to do the best they can. It's like my daughter and some of the kids I've told before, you know, you get with the smartest kid in the class and get them to be your friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Show them what they know.
It's like getting a bilingual kid
Exactly.
in Spanish class.
Right. And
Nelson Landano. I thank you. I could not have passed Spanish without you.
Muchas gracias.
And you speak, when you meet that bilingual kid, your friend, you don't talk English. You talk Spanish.
Yes.
And it becomes your second language. And here we go going to college. Yes. Here we go getting a better job because we got a second language skill.
So is there a summer enrichment program already active in the city?
Yes.
Every school. I mean, if you don't do good in the classroom, no child left behind.
No, no. That's called
credit
recovery. That's what that is. No, that don't work then. No, it don't. As somebody that was in credit recovery from the 8th grade all the way up, I can let y'all know that what he just explained is not what is going on in summer. I can just let y'all know. The rest of y'all seem like you passed. Yeah. When I got back from alternative school, I had to do that. Let me let you know there's improvements that can be made.
You know, even at Columbia State has a summer enrichment program.
There we go.
TSU, Fisk. I had sent my daughter up to TSU, and she became, at that time, it was the Upper Bound program. It was the Student Transportation Institute that was going on. Mm-hmm. Fisk got a thing going on. But we got to hook our kids into these things and push them toward the positiveness.
So locally, C State is where parents should be signing their kids up for.
Yes, especially when you're dealing with reading and mathematics and science.
And what's the age limit for that program?
I have to talk to Krista about that.
Yeah, or look it up yourselves. Everybody got phones. Yeah. Everybody got a computer.
To the words you say, like T-Talks, we've learned to say things in a different way, to put it in the same light but a different way.
Right.
So instead of saying summer school enrichment class, that has a whole different ring to it.
Doesn't it?
It makes you be like, oh, enrichment.
Until I found out what it was.
Let me.
I'm familiar with it.
That's what you said earlier.
Make it make something that is small, but we know how big it is. Mm-hmm. This teenager, this 18-year-old don't understand it, but we're going to blow it up.
Make it
enticing. We're going to do enrichment classes, and when you get done with class, we're going to have we're going to go to your favorite bar, go to your favorite cafe. We're going to go to so now not only are you going to learn for knowledge, you have a reward at the end of it that you're excited about.
Exactly.
And this person, and most of the thing, I always say, do it out of love. Because you only can do these things if it's genuine, pure, out of love. Because who else is going to take time out their day to make sure somebody who's going to go do something good and be like, all right, you done? Let's go out and have a drink. I want you to feel good about learning. Because most of the time, learning is nothing fun. But it can be fun. I've turned teaching my daughter how to be a secretary into a fun thing.
Now, I wouldn't say learning isn't fun. I think kids like to learn. Kids don't like
struggle.
Kids don't like to test.
Yes.
I think testing.
I hated testing.
If they know every time.
They thought it was a little slow.
Think about how fun is it, like even when you're in an orientation for a new job, okay? And they're like teaching you stuff and you're like, cool. And then she's like, yeah, we're going to test on this at the end. It should have been fun instantly after.
You know what? You're right.
What's a better word for testing?
Like at that point in time, you're like, oh, I've got to approach this differently now.
Between testing and evaluation.
I feel like that's a play on words.
There we go. We're going to evaluate what we learned today.
Yeah, I feel like that's a play on words. Why do they have to call this something different for us to have a different emotional response for it? I think we're just too emotional as people.
It's just the
human
I mean, because we get emotional about it, but somebody else kid gonna see that same thing, then the exact same words, and they're gonna be like, man, I need to go and do that. But then we gonna look at it and say, man, that's demeaning. What do you mean about that? And so we'll stay 5 steps behind because we don't like the way something is named even though it's still good for us.
Yeah.
And we'll even take something that's good for us and make it bad because we don't like the name. That's
where the
that's
communication
damaging.
comes
That's
in.
where the
because
paradigm shift comes
I'm
in.
going to learn different from
The play on
JD
semantics.
and Brandon.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
We got a comment here I want to read.
Okay.
All right. Can I just add some on?
Go ahead.
Or is it on the topic?
This is Damian Boggs.
All right. But is it on what we talked
Hey,
Sort of, but go ahead.
Damien.
All right. I was
Go
just
ahead.
listening
You
to
go. You
Mr.
go.
Boggs.
I was just listening to your music earlier, Damien. Man, you're amazing. But with a paradigm,
You got to talk into the mic,
yeah.
bro.
All right. With a paradigm shift and with trying to get them to accept wording and accept all of that, there has to be an example set. And I love that we're talking about kids starting at the ages of 8 up to 9th grade, which is 15. But the youngest mayor was 26, which means we still got 11 years before we get return on investment. How can grown people start doing this also and set the example for the 15 to 8-year-old to where they don't even care what it's called because my uncle is doing it, my cousin did it. You know what I'm saying? That's the paradigm shift. What can we do now so by 2022 that when that 8-year-old been watching and now he's 10, it's seamless for him?
How did you
I was just about to say
learn?
that. We have to
Involved
show.
in education.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you learn something when you were at home? How did you learn it?
You just tried it out.
Yeah.
But see, you
Trial
had
and error.
structure
Yeah.
to teach you what it is. You just didn't tie your shoe.
Right.
You were taught how to tie your shoe.
Someone gave
Right.
you legit
Right.
steps to make it happen.
Right, exactly.
You know?
So
And you followed them.
we need to be teaching the parents. 'Cause I think everybody at this table got kids, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. So we need to be teaching the parents. So then once they come out of the homes, they're already familiar with what enrichment is.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need that. Like, so
Yes.
how do we? But
That's what
anyways,
the
just
mentoring
put a
and
pin in
everything
that.
comes in.
What's
You
the comment?
just started.
Yeah. That's what the mentoring and
Okay.
So Damien said, as an advocate for social justice and someone who wants to do the right thing to help balance the scales in our lopsided societal spectrum, what is the most effective approach for me, a white male, aka privileged beyond understanding, to see, change, and leverage responses while staying in my lane?
get out your lane. Get into our lane.
No. Stay in your lane.
No,
Stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's right.
Stay in your lane, but use your skills, talents, and abilities to help pull somebody else along to get them to where you are, even though they might be of a different ethnicity.
It tears
Is
me up
that-
too.
You know, what you do, you take them up under your wing.
Yeah.
And as you take them up
That's
under
what I
your
meant by
wing,
getting out the lane.
you train them. And as you begin to train them, you still have your lane, but you also have somebody that you help along the way, and hopefully they'll pay it forward.
Or it could
It's
be
all
so
about paying things forward. We got to
It
learn
could
that.
be so simple. I like to always go off of the impact of what a hug can do. My son told me one time hugs
Sure.
save lives.
Sure.
And it just really messed with me. So something as small as a hug can change your day. That day can make your week better. That week can change your year type thing. If somebody like Damien, and I'll just get specific because since he asked, he's a musician, a very talented
Okay,
musician,
very
but
good.
then he's also a very talented cook.
Got a lot of
So-
soul for a white boy.
Whoa.
A lot, but he's from Louisiana, so he
Oh,
different.
naturally.
That's a different
That's
breed
a
of people down there.
A lot of soul.
It's a whole different
Man,
culture.
But if he
That's
was
a
to,
whole other white boy.
if he was to simply show up at East 8th Street Church and bring his guitar and sing and praise with them, and then afterwards when we eat, go in the back and help them throw down in the kitchen, and just go back home and be like, hey guys, I had a great day with
So
you.
that support.
That simple support, that simple, I'm gonna sit in your space and be comfortable and loving and endearing. That right there shows more. You'll get more results out of that than by writing a letter and sending it to your senator.
Volumes.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Volumes.
just. It's,
I want to
it's just
shine
that.
a deeper light on what he's saying. Is how can he feel comfortable taking the talents that he have and doing with them what he really wants and be okay with it?
What is it that he really wants?
He wants to stay in his lane and still support. Stay in his lane and support.
Read the whole thing to me again.
Go ahead, Paco.
All right, give me just a second.
Well,
Okay. He said, and he's added since then, as an advocate for social justice and someone who wants to do the right thing to help balance the scales in our lopsided societal spectrum, what is the most effective approach for me, a white male, aka privileged beyond understanding, to see change and leverage responses while staying in my lane and not alienating the very culture and humans I feel compelled to help, love.
And that's why I'm saying you
Hold
gotta get
on.
uncomfortable.
By lane, I mean without cultural appropriation and more along the lines of cultural immersion.
God, I love that man.
well, it's as simple as you can't.
Get
I
you
know
and
we
two
don't like
friends
to
to
say
open up an
white
account
people
at
and black
Citizens
people are
Bank.
going to be different. Like if I go to a white person's home, they're going to move different from how black people move in their homes. I watched a documentary of a white man. This white man didn't talk to this black man in any type of slang. He did not dress in tennis shoes and
Just
a
be
t-shirt.
himself.
He was himself, but
That's how you get
what
invited
he
to the
did
cookout.
was he knew that this black man wanted to finish school. He knew this black man. I forgot. Gosh, it was a documentary. It's a real documentary of a guy who's in Atlanta, who's like a really big person, big activist there. He has a he helps out people like little black kids who are homeless, and all because and it was the craziest thing watching all this man who did all this pro-black things, and then during the middle of the documentary, there's this white man he meets at the door, and he's bawling, crying. This black man is crying, not because it's like, oh, woe is me, white man, thank you so much. It was just like, you came into my life and you didn't see me as a black man. You saw a boy who wanted to do better, and I didn't have what everybody else did, and you didn't pity me. You just came in and paid for my room. You paid for the things that I could not afford, and when I got down on myself, you encouraged me. Not once did I feel like I was being pitied. I felt like you came in, you saw something, and now look where I'm at to this day. And he was so thankful to that man. You could tell that this white man, he doesn't look like like I said, he looks like somebody I would never in a million years sort of thought he would have came down to take care of somebody the way he did. And this white man, he didn't, like I said, it wasn't no dapping him up. It was just like, hey, my friend, how are you? And he embraced them. So it's like, if you a white man, you know that you're privileged, you know you can get into doors I can't. You know you can talk to
It's time to be
people that I
vocal.
can't.
They have to get uncomfortable
talk
out here.
for me.
It's time to get vocal.
Speak for me. Because you genuinely care about me. You know I cannot be here where you're at.
If he's a true friend,
If you get you and 3 friends, George, I want you to talk next. Get you and 3 friends, go and open up accounts at Citizens Bank. Put $50 in that account a month, or whatever you want. But the way that you can stay in your lane but also help is you help the things that will help us.
Oh, I gotta take this shit.
Should I open it?
Huh? No, I gotta take it.
Give me
What do you want?
Sorry, guys.
Nobody's getting hurt. Y'all be okay.
Okay,
What it,
It's who?
some lady.
what it is that he came to him as a man. Yeah.
Came in. You didn't see her?
What?
Yeah, there you go.
The man just put up an electrical fence.
Big
Get down. Go on.
We're under attack.
Paco, we sorry.
You gonna need some insurance.
I'm like, who is this?
Gonna be Paco's address for a
I was
second.
Mario.
Hey, as long as he ain't jump with a,
Right, ain't no roof behind it. But I like that he's even interested. You're doing step 1, which is acknowledging, hey, I'm a privileged person. How can I get involved? You know what I'm saying? So that's step 1, automatic.
Right.
Then my thing is, hey, get uncomfortable. Get outside of not get outside your lane. Stay within your talents, but step outside of your comfort zone and say, hey, y'all, it's time for everybody to be vocal about the injustices in America. Period.
right. Because one of the ones that helped us through the civil rights movement were white.
Exactly.
know?
And we need everybody to get involved.
Exactly. Everybody has to be
Because
involved.
NAACP doesn't have a skin. You don't have to be black to join. There's white. Yes.
There are white NAACP presidents in this nation. See, and when everybody brings their skills and talents involved,
Yes, that's all that matters.
you know, all he showed them was that he was a man,
That was it.
just like me.
He was a man.
And I love you as a man.
Yep.
Let me share my talents with you.
Yep.
Let me show you something.
And that's what he did.
And that's what he
and that
did.
It was just, and then this man was so thankful. It was, like I said, it wasn't like no all limit, because like I've heard of the saying, like some black people, no, we're not slaves anymore, but we're all, some of us are looking for our new master. You know what I mean? We're looking for that white person who makes us feel like something. We're waiting on that person. No, it was nothing like that. It was a true, genuine thank you for seeing me who I am. I mean, it was the longest hug. Like, I ain't never seen two men hold each other like, hi, my friend, how are you? And the man, like, and the guy on the other end, he's like, quit thanking me. Just stop. He's like,
that's something else too, man. Men have been so demasculized, or however the word is.
It's an epidemic of
masculinity has been
men.
Taken from us, and now either it looks gay or it is gay for a man to show another man affection.
I love you, man. How are you?
As I was coming up, you wouldn't really hug another man unless they was family. But see, that's where a lot of stuff gets messed up, because that's why folks is in the grave and folks is in the prison, because you violated my manhood. See, but men have feelings too. I was raised up 5th generation Marine. Okay, I was always taught men don't cry. I was at a relative's funeral and I looked over and I saw my father. He was crying. He was one of the first black Marines back in Mumford Point in the 40s. Okay? So that told me, yes, men do. And then when you read your Bible, and it tells you when you cry and God hears that cry, that's where your help comes from. Because I'd rather do it in the pillow than do it on your head. Now, if I do it on your head, I got to do the consequences of my actions. See, and when they became emasculated, that's when all this other stuff started to happen. You know, and when folks violated folks' manhoods or thought what they perceived to be the manhood, people are in the graves. People are in the prisons. You know, and then drugs come through and swept us. You see what I'm saying? And that's why there's not that many black men in the homes, because a lot of them are locked up or dead or in the grave. I don't know, out of their mind.
So communication again is as they're coming up, just let them know it's okay to be all right. And when you ask the young black man,
it's that mental health.
Okay?
Like he took
care.
Yeah, see,
like
when
Doc did
he
for
took
you.
his out, right? He took his out in a different way, because once he got finished with that, he was tired. He was sore, but he was tired, and he wasn't angry no more.
Right.
My first week there, Doc ain't talk to me. Cause I was
That's
so
how
angry.
he did me too.
But I was so angry, I wasn't talking to nobody. I was coming in like no mouthpiece. I'm just fighting. Like, what's up? And he let me get tired. And by the end of the week, I was like exhausted. And then he came up and he asked me my name and everything. He was like, "Now that you got it out, how do you feel?"
Exactly.
All right, so now that we got your feelings out the way,
Hello.
you look pretty good. You want to come back next week?
I think mom's is a different case. I think he was like, this girl's not serious. She can't be serious. I was like, yes, I am. Watch me fight.
Emotional stability, man, that's such an important thing, man. People take their emotions as facts. They believe just because they feel a certain way, they have to do something.
Yes.
Act out.
They feel like they have to act on their emotions. But I believe that's another thing us as a people have to understand, that emotions are just what they are. It's just an emotion.
Yep.
We
It's how you
thought
respond.
about something, and when we thought about it, we had a certain feeling. We have a feeling because of the way we think about something. That's all an emotion is. But if we take that thought and that feeling and we make that truth, then that's where other things come into a picture. That man, it'll take something very small and make it so huge. It can.
That's the inner strength.
The strength. But I do want to point out something in that and bring something up, because it hasn't been mentioned yet, except for what you just said. It says in your Bible, when he hears your cries, and that's where your help comes from. All right, that's where your strength comes from, right? We have not approached this from a spiritual perspective.
Right.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Even being led by preachers, pastors, ministers, we have not taken it upon ourselves as a mask to approach this from a spiritual perspective. In the Bible, whenever Israel was in trouble, and I do believe and know that we are the descendants of the Israelites, because
Agreed.
I got facts.
Mm-hmm.
So by reading the Bible and seeing that in times of dismay, they would fast, they would pray, they would burn incense and offerings, that type of thing, and gather, because once two or more are gathered, he's in the midst, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have not taken a spiritual approach to this. Why is there not a praise protest? Why is there on social media not prayers?
So you're wanting to see the churches more involved?
I mean, no, not even just church.
Just everybody.
People that believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I believe people are praying all around. There are little things going on. As far as I believe the church's job is so much more than just to sit back and pray.
Yeah.
I think the job. I don't think the church's job is not to have a praise protest. What do it look like for all of us to get in the middle of the street and shout because we want them to change something?
That'd be amazing.
Songs
The churches has to be so much more assertive. It has to be more.
What are some things
upfront.
that the black churches in general, but especially locally, can be more assertive in doing?
Man, anything.
Is it true that you guys have a monthly meeting with leaders, and is it open? That's what I've just heard. I don't know how true that is.
If we do, I'm not aware of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not aware. There may be someone else that would be better qualified for that question, but nah.
Well, in Nashville, they had that ministerial alliance.
Thank you for joining us.
And here,
Jazz.
Duck River Association.
Go check out Tea Talks.
Neither one of them. I'm Church of God now.
Tea Talks at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Thank you for joining us, Jasmine.
Thank you for having
Bye,
me.
Jazz.
Thank you for showing up and being a part of this conversation.
Unless you're talking about the other leaders, like governmental leaders.
Oh, okay.
That might, you have to ask.
You got it all to yourself now?
Man, I'm chilling over here.
Yeah, it's time to get to it.
Oh, man.
When you were talking about the monthly meeting,
Yeah.
What did you mean by monthly meeting?
So, we were talking. I was talking to a friend of mine who was trying to get marches involved, like the march for this coming up Saturday here in Columbia. And he informed me that he was trying to get a church involved, and he was like, "Well, what are you guys doing to help in this case?" And he was like, "Well, we
Who's
meet."
putting the march together?
Jeremiah Wright and Raekwon Wilson.
Thank you, Raekwon Wilson. He did
shout out, yeah.
Almost definitely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're doing a
Is he
march
part of
on
the
Saturday.
NAACP or is he just?
No,
He's freelancing out here.
I told him that he
Alright.
could become,
Right.
because like I passed to you as our constraints when it's dealing with something like that. So I had
Yeah, I
to
read it.
explain the whole thing to him to make sure he's got an understanding of if we did become involved, what all it entailed to happen. And it's something that couldn't happen overnight.
See.
Right.
Well, shout out to him for doing the work that
Yes,
he's
sure.
doing.
He
Very
started-
strong, proud black man. I'm proud of you, bro.
Right.
Yes.
But so they have a march coming next weekend.
Yeah, next Saturday there's supposed to be a march.
Do you
or
know the
something.
location?
Not yet. It hasn't
Okay.
been disclosed just yet.
All right. Well, when
Yeah,
we get the
still working
information,
on it. They're still working on it.
All right. Cool.
But he mentioned that there was the churches. He was speaking to one of the church leaders, and he was saying how the church leaders and the church pastors and leaders of the community meet monthly to discuss issues in the community. And
Oh, he's talking about Stand Together Fellowship.
Okay,
That
this-
might be what
maybe,
he's talking
yeah.
about, Stand Together Fellowship.
Stand
so is
Together
that just
Fellowship.
are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
So
I've
is that
been
just
on that.
is that just the leaders and pastors, or is it open to the community?
That part I have to check on, but I know there's the leaders of different denominations, and the mayor's been there. They had the mayor there,
Yeah.
police chiefs there, and like that. So
And that's
I have to
Stand
find
Together
out.
Fellowship.
Stand Together Fellowship.
Any listeners that have more information on Stand Together Fellowship, please drop it in the comments also.
Yes,
Because I
please.
think they
So-
meet July 5th. That Friday, July 5th at 9:30 in the morning.
So
9:30 in the morning. Okay.
where are we at on this agenda? We've got education. We've got involvement / politics.
Yes, we need what will be the list of demands, and then policing, police-wise, locally.
Well, let's.
But all right, well skip that and
Hold on,
then
wait.
list the demands then.
I mean, first, beyond the list of demands and the policing, like
as far as business wise, as far as us coming together,
right?
What is
what is the resources that we have to make this establishment? You know what I mean? What are we?
We can do the financial literacy program fairly fast. We can take those that are already registered to vote and have a meeting and create a voting block fairly easy.
Okay.
So it's just tomorrow is the beginning of June. Those things can definitely be organized and put together within 60 days.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So by the time we going into August, things can be already in a mobile way with some initiatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there is an app that helps out, and that's that Proud Voter. .org, I think it's .org or .com. And with Proud Voter, you can go into there. You can find out if you're still registered because it'll let you know if you've been purged off the polls. And if you
They
have,
definitely need to know that.
you know, and if you have to be registered, you can register on there.
All right. Proudvoter.org.
Proudvoter.org.
Right.
And that way, you can use that with folks among friends and family to register them to vote.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of hard when you go around and COVID, you can't do it.
Right.
You know, because of the groups of people, but to ask somebody to fill out a voter registration form.
Right.
And since you got social media, you can go to proudvoter.org, see if they're registered or not, find out what their district is, find out the senator and representative, get them registered to vote. The next thing they know, they should end up having their voter registration card.
Okay.
You know, like that.
How, we were talking about candidates, how do we find and vet candidates from our own community, from our own size?
You got to get the word out. You got to get the word out. Who's interested?
What would be what is a way that candidates become known to the communities? Like if it's their first time they want to try to run.
Involvement.
They don't come
involvement.
Step two. For example, though, people have approached DeMario, councilman, right? A couple times. So he's never ran though. What process would he go through to gain the support of a black community, from business to church to? What would be the process for a beginning runner?
Yeah,
involvement. It's just like when the presidents start candidating, they go to churches, they go to places, they want to be seen.
They start showing up.
They want people to know who you are. They want people to hear how they feel, what they think.
But how do you got to call a pastor? You got to talk to the secretary.
If you want to go talk to the church, yes, you need to call the pastor and let them know you want to come talk over there. If you want to come talk to a school, of course, you got to get in hold of the principal, the staff there to see how to set that up. If you want to talk or go into any type of establishment to promote yourself, of course you have to get in touch with that establishment in order to get out there. So now, as far as how to sign up to figure out how to run,
no, you gotta go downtown for that. But once you already signed up how to run, how do people
know who you are? You gotta get out.
Yeah,
just like what's it called, a campaign?
I know they talk to churches.
It is develop your platform first. On what your issues are going to be, because when you talk to somebody, they're going to ask you, what are you running for? What do you stand for? What do you believe?
Can we cultivate people, though, that may be interested in running for sheriff and help them cultivate a platform, help them get out there?
Is that what a voting block does? Or no?
People?
Well, see, what a voting block is...
Voting for candidates that are already...
okay. I'm just saying, like, create
somebody, plucking them, like, all right. People want you to be a councilman. You got a platform? No, you don't know what it is? Nigga, fine. Don't worry about it. What do you believe in? Right. All right, we gonna do this. Now I need you to go talk to this man.
Isn't that like a campaign manager?
You
like,
just did it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you would be Paco's campaign manager who would go out and find, figure out how to make him.
How do we have a community aspect of a campaign manager though? That's what I'm saying. Like. All right, Anson. He don't live here no more.
Watch this. For example, Brandon, watch this. It's simple. You just have to do it. There is no right, wrong way to do it. If you want to do it, you just have to do it. You got to find that person, and then you have to get them out there. But it's few little steps and stages that you have to take care of in between, because I don't care who you are. If you don't get in front of the people and you have something to say, they're going to sit you back down.
Yeah.
I don't care how long they've known you.
Right.
Either they're not going to listen to you anymore, or they just it's just.
Is that a beneficial idea to cultivate first time runners for local office?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
All right then.
I mean, everybody had a first time.
We talked.
I mean, look at Trump. He's the
500
president.
votes.
Yeah.
It was only, what did you say, 200 votes?
Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. It would be so easy to find somebody, cultivate them, figure out
But
that
you gotta
platform that
find
will work
somebody
locally
that
and get them in
already-
front of the right
But,
people.
Interesting,
but you got
maybe?
to find out.
They got to be interested.
You got
Yeah.
to find out the
I think
district,
T the bar would be great.
the platform,
Okay.
what it is they want to run for. Because there's so much stuff out there.
Right.
You know, and narrow their scope of pushing everything to get to that seat. You know, and like you say, that's when you start showing up at churches with your little 3x5 card or something. This is what I'm interested in.
Okay.
You know, I would like your support. Talk
Okay.
to the pastor early, so
Okay.
well, at the end or announcements,
Okay.
it's out there.
Okay.
When you find out they doing fish fries,
Okay.
hot dog
All right.
sales.
Yeah, I like
Campaigning,
that.
straight
Yeah.
campaigning.
Let's break it
Exactly
down
what
for
you
somebody that might be listening that might
Right.
want to. Yeah.
I mean, that's
you.
the way you go about it.
I ain't running for nothing.
Because you got to be in the mix for them to find out who you are.
Okay.
But you got to be comfortable in yourself, because the number one thing that people are afraid of is talking in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
My thing is, and this is, probably shouldn't be saying this on air, but my thing is, if we find 10 people, hypothetically, we find 10 people, right, that all gonna run for different things, and say we have a voting block of 200 people. Can you hear me good? Of 200 people. Not enough to guarantee we're gonna win anything, right? But we have enough pull to make them sweat. We got 10 people running. We got 200 people saying they're going to vote for all 10 of these people only. What are you going to do? Because we could tell them this might not be your time and you need to sit down right now. But what are you going to do? Because we got 10 people that want to run, and we got 200 voters that will back them in direct competition to you and your buddy over here.
Right.
So what's up?
Right.
That will at least force them to sit at the table,
Right.
and then we got to talk.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I ain't saying we gotta win and we gotta
Let's
wash
sit
them
at
all
the
and
table.
take over. We gotta make sure you know that we are politically activated at least.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
that's why I was thinking about cultivating people from the ground up, just to put them in front and be like, we got 300 people that vote for this dude on his very first election.
Right.
What you gonna do to keep your seat? Because
Right.
it's your third time around. What's up with you? How bad you want to keep it?
Yeah.
And see, you got to make sure that dude doesn't have his. You got to make sure dude doesn't have his feelings on his sleeve, because you get out there and you get the campaigning and all this, and then you lose. It
Yeah.
kind of took some wind out your sails. But
Yeah.
when you go in here into this, you understand there's a possibility, but you ain't looking for it.
No,
Right.
it ain't
So,
exactly. It's a means.
like you said, it ain't your time yet.
Right.
So what it is, it comes down to name recognition. You got to have name recognition.
Yes.
If you got that, that goes a lot farther. And if you got a good character, it goes farther than that. Because what happens when you meet some of the older folks around? Well, who's your mama? Who's your
your
daddy?
people?
Who's your folks? Like you said, who's your people? Oh yeah, they cool. Yeah, let me get so and so and so and so. And there's 5, 10, 15 people right there.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes,
you got to make
exactly.
sure as you vet them, and they, like I say, they come to understand that it might not be your time, the way your feelings on your sleeve, but let's go get them.
Right.
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 You know, and then we got to develop the campaign coffer in order to make sure they can get supplied with the stuff in order to get out there to pass it out.
Right. And nowadays with social media and everything, you
That
got a
even
good
helps that much
you got a
more.
good graphic designer and web designer. That's half your campaign budget right there. So if we find somebody that wants to be a county commissioner or something like that, and we vet them and they're in good standing, and then you have 2 shows in an organization in a church, and Juneteenth is just a whole celebration. But if we know this person's good, you can come on this show, do an interview. You can do events that's sponsored by NAACP. They'll let you talk. You can go and speak at East 8th Street, and they'll hear you out. You can actually show up to Juneteenth, and they'll give you some time on the mic.
Definitely.
And all, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. If we can set up that infrastructure around somebody, and then even if still we only have 200 people, but if we go to the current county commissioner, like, we're gonna make sure you get interview time, we're gonna make sure you get time in front of the people, we're gonna make sure that he got at least 200 votes coming his way, and he's coming, he's running in opposition to you, that dude is gonna want to know what you want.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Let me remind you of something. They got a 26-year-old black mayor in California.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that man, okay, let me tell you about this, because I was just so impressed with him. Let me shout out Michael. Okay, so he got his bachelor's and his master's at the same time. He came from a terrible background. His story is like anybody else's story. It's
like
that
Tyler
drive.
Perry wrote it.
Yeah.
Like Tyler Perry wrote it. That's what it's like. Okay.
Yes, it's like Tyler Perry's story. But he was just so like inspirational to me because I'm like, man, like if you got the right drive, you can do anything. We can really take over this country, this world, our communities, if we wanted to.
But don't
wait.
We wanted to.
Let me just say this quick, on Pat. Don't get too down because he got a bachelor's and a master's at the same time. Go ahead.
Yes, everybody's story's different.
That's a lot.
I wanted to just.
Everybody's journey different.
Yeah, everybody's journey is different. Okay,
I've
everybody.
been in undergrad for
You don't
10
even have
years,
to be in
point
school
blank.
to get there.
I'm visiting now.
Yeah, that's just beside the point. I was just wanting to showcase how much of his drive was. This man, like, who does that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I got my degree in 5 years, and that's just one.
I walked away after one semester.
See?
I was like,
And you're
wait a
smart.
minute. I'm not gonna edit any video till year 3. I was like, I'm about to go on tour with Webby and Boosie, like in a month. Like,
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
still successful. That's why, like, it's not necessary. You don't need that to be successful, but it's just his story.
It's the inner drive.
It's that
of
inner
the
drive.
person.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough,
You can do it.
Get it.
Yep.
Look,
If you
Because
believe
it's
it,
a
you can achieve it.
psychological thing.
It
If
is.
you want to run for councilman, if you want to run for mayor, if you
Yes.
want a position in Murray County, Tennessee, please stand up.
Where y'all at?
Basically.
Where y'all at?
Where are you?
We might be
need
sitting in the
you.
room with some right now.
We need you to just say something.
I'm not infallible. I can't run for nothing.
What
They
is
definitely
what's
won't.
your reasons?
We
behind
are going to make
that?
Mr. Sproul.
we get into that another day.
Okay.
We had 2 hours and 20 minutes right now.
Yeah.
So
That's good
where
talk.
we at on this list?
A list of demands locally that we actually would want to see changed. The things that are going on now that we want to see improved or changed completely.
I feel like we can't make that list yet until events are over because we might make a list
And then tomorrow
shit
something
change.
happens. You're
One
very
thing
right.
that
We
ain't
can at
gonna
least mark it
change,
off.
That's education.
Right.
Yeah.
Education. If you get education, you can get the rest of it.
Right. We've had
But we got
that
to deal with
comment
that
has been
education.
made
Yes.
100
So many times.
Yeah.
Well, no, during this cast, like if you
Yeah.
go through the
Yeah.
comments, it's all about education.
It
Look,
is.
y'all, that's step 1. For really, before that, we have to facilitate this. So I'm gonna sit and brainstorm with Brandon. We're gonna come up with a way to facilitate this.
These things are very doable. We have so many black churches. If you, with the financial literacy, if you have 5 black churches that say it in their announcements and get a third of their congregation to go, you know what I mean? Then you're still talking about probably 75 to 100 people.
Yeah.
Off of 5 black churches. That's within 5 black
Only
churches on 2 blocks.
75 to 100.
I ain't been to church, bro. You know I don't go to church. I'm going off the numbers, bro. Like,
5
You know you don't go to
churches,
church.
75 people. Man, you
a third of the congregation. I don't know, bro. Just see,
15 people at church.
But you know, you got to look at all
Y'all are
the
good
black
at
churches
numbers,
in
let me
Murray
tell you
County.
that.
I'm thinking
You
in numbers.
never know.
Like,
You know, you still got some white churches that may be listening too.
yeah,
So you know, it'll grow, but you're just starting at a baseline figure.
there's 5
Yeah.
churches within
Very
3 blocks on the east side.
Right.
You know,
See
we
what
ain't even
I'm
made it to the west yet.
Man, on East 8th Street alone, I believe it's about 5, 6
It is.
churches on that street.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
St. Grace United right across the street.
Yep.
Right down the road, there's another church. Mount Calvary across the street from that. Mount Lebanon right down
Oh, so
there from that.
you
And
need to
First
be in charge
Baptist.
of that then. Since you know where all the churches are,
Right. I'm like, what?
you need to go ahead and just be in charge of handling the distribution to that community.
That would be great.
He'll get
No,
more.
like-
He'll get more information
Yeah.
on that.
Right.
Get back to you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I got you, bro.
I don't want to make no promises. I got you, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because with that being said, a candidate, all he got to do is walk 1 block.
See, the reason I don't want to
Literally.
jump into a list of demands is because that's what every black group does, is jump into a list of
But what's wrong with that?
It doesn't work.
But it does if we were consistent with demanding these demands. It's a lot of demands.
What are you talking about?
Okay,
You know
like
what
for
I
instance,
believe?
there's a black agenda right now from ADOS. I don't know how. I guess that's how you say it. The Black Lives Matter has a 10-point manifesto that really works. It could work if we were to consistently demand it and say, "Hey, why is he not arrested for this point right
Say
here?"
that word again.
What?
The C word.
Consistently.
Consistently.
Say that word one more time.
Consistently.
Consistent.
She sounded cute. Damn.
Yeah, for real.
I'm trying to bring us
good.
So wait.
It don't matter
What?
what you
So why
want.
could we not cultivate our own?
Come on.
We can. We got to be
Bring
consistent.
your C word out, nigga.
Yeah, cultivate.
Say it again.
Why, cultivate. Instead of making demands, why don't we cultivate our own? Why am I demanding a building, or why am I demanding a service or a treatment when we could cultivate our own? If you become powerful enough, they'll give it to you.
Nation
Well,
Islam.
you know, you have to look at it as starting out with being your concerns.
Right.
If you don't take care of these concerns, they become demands.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we could just
And
circumvent
there's-
around all of them.
Come on with them C words.
C is the magic letter, y'all. Okay.
We can just circumvent around them all. I mean, we like you said, let's not reinvent a wheel. Let's not draw up a blueprint that's already made.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Like,
my whole point.
If what we've talked about between education, financially, politically, trade skills, and getting involved politically, going to the county commissioners with 3 or more people and everything like that, if that didn't work, if that doesn't work, especially in a Murray County has 45,000 people. 45,000 people. Elections are decided from 200 to 500 votes, right?
That's crazy.
And
Look,
also,
but if doing all of that does not work, then you can change the paradigm. I believe if you don't like the way the table's set, flip the table. You can circumvent around the whole process if this don't work, and take Nation of Islam route, make your own schools, your own clinics, your own information, your own newspaper, your own clothing, do all of that. Honestly, and this is for the listeners, I make my own clothes, I grow my own food. I'm just doing this for y'all benefit. I'm moving to Africa. Like, there's ways that we can circumvent asking permission for anything.
Hold on. Tell
This is
us
just a nice way of doing it.
What's the rate again if we go to what were we talking about last time?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
$25,000 in Nigeria is $20 million.
No,
Shut up.
It was,
Come
it was
on.
7.
That's not real.
No, it was 27. It was something like that. Yeah.
All we
No,
need is
for real. The
$25,000 to have
dude across
like.
the street told us you go with 25,000. I told him I wanted to go with 100,000. He said,
So
"Oh,
why
too
are we
much."
here?
He said, "You go with 25,000. You can walk around the streets throwing money." if you
Look,
want to."
I need 25
I'm
people
leaving,
that got $1,000.
But for those that's gonna
to
stay, the
donate
Bible
me
says,
$1,000.
come out of Babylon, my
trip
people,
missionary.
and do not partake in her plagues." Right. So I'm leaving because I know what day we live in.
Pass that to her.
Boom.
If it is 20,000 people
$25,000 is $9 million in Nigeria.
I don't
I
even
can't
need
believe
And
this.
and the thing is, the spending power is $9 million.
But
It's not cereal
but
costs $200.
I just need 10,000
Oh, okay.
people.
So I was
to
gonna say
send
that
me
in Jamaica.
$100.
I thought I was balling
If
and I
they-
wasn't.
But look, it could be this easy because we gotta look at the reality of the moment. With something like that, they having a second round of stimulus checks possibly come out. They supposed to be voting on it this week,
We
right?
done burnt up too much stuff.
But I'm saying,
We ain't getting them checks.
Or social
but
media.
let's say when the first round came, right? If you got 50 people to give $1,000, or if you got 1,000 people to give $500, something like that, you got a stimulus check. You can make a credit union. You can buy a building and make it a grocery store. You can make a farmer's market. You can a conglomerate of black folks can come together and bring city trends down here.
We get them Negroes that money and
You
see
know what
how
I'm
they
saying?
treat us.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's ways that we can do this the fair way, the cool way of being a part and being a part of the processes of everything, financial and otherwise, or we can take this all the way left and have yes. And the blueprint's there. It's already been done. There's an organization active in America right now that's been doing it for 80 years.
But who wants to leave life as you know? You know?
Or you can stay here and do like the Nation of Islam.
I feel like that's how we should approach everything. We should do that.
I have done research.
I ain't about leaving, but
there are abandoned cities in America. St. Louis statistics and Detroit are virtually
and we can get it
abandoned. And you can go in there, you can buy a house in St. Louis for $2,500.
See, that's what
you
we
can
do.
look it up.
Well, I know
there are ways that we can
to,
circumvent asking for permission for anything. This is just a nice way to make sure everybody feels involved.
Yeah.
But whatever way people want to do it, I'm moving to Nigeria and I'm gonna live like a king the rest of my days.
If you get 25,000, man, just let me borrow 5. I'll pay you back.
Bro, when we get over there, don't worry, bro. We good.
We balling.
I just gotta see if weed is legal over there, then I'm good. I'm out of here.
But realistically speaking, man, all of this is good conversation. I love that this conversation is going, but I would hate for this conversation to die and us to just go back to life as usual.
Right.
We have to be consistent.
That's why I like these points that we're doing, so we can really go back to it, see how to get involved, see how to get educated.
That can be done within 60 days.
Yeah.
Literally within 60 days. By the time we hit August, we could have mobilized at least 2 or 3 things that we've talked about at this table.
Yeah, I believe that.
So what do we have beyond the demands? What
going home?
Huh? Like the app. Going home.
Look at Paco. He's like, I mean, DeMario.
The app. We covered the politics. We covered education. Communication would be the app.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Honestly, from my perspective, we gotta go with God.
Yep. It's a spiritual warfare, though.
Without power, without might. You gotta go with God. We have to do proactive things. This is a spiritual war.
Yes.
What is hate? What is discrimination? What is racism? It's evil. These are all proponents and branches off of evil.
Yep.
How do you fight evil?
Yep.
You have to shine a light on the tree. What is the light? That is the truth. You have to embrace the truth. Let truth be known. Let that light shine on the evil, and that's how you kill the tree.
Yeah.
You gotta have God.
Yep.
We've tried every other way. We've done boycotts, protests, die-ins, sit-ins, all this shit. We done rioted, burned, fought, kneeled, sat, prayed. We ain't prayed enough. We need a spiritual warfare. Before y'all got over here, what was I burning, bro?
Burning sage and prayer.
Man, this is spiritual.
When you send him out in front of you, he clears your path.
Yes. And we ain't sending them out no more.
Right. You got to send him
we
out.
Ain't sending them out.
Because he's the only thing that's helped us through all these hard times. Was God.
Yes.
Yep.
Paul said it. Paul said, man, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and that's all we fight against.
That's it.
It's against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness and
wickedness in high places. Man, to spiritualize that conversation, man, to understand that there is good and evil forces in the world. Man,
we got to acknowledge what we know.
So we seem like to be spiritual people here. You know,
I mean, she's not spiritual.
No, I'm very spiritual. I love the Lord. Lord, you know my heart. Okay, so we seem to be very spiritual here.
Oh,
if we know we know the Bible, right? We know the world is going to end. We know that it's really not going to get any better, right? We kind of know that.
We win in the end, though.
We win in the end because we go from glory to glory. You know what I'm saying? But if we know that, hey, the world is going to end, what is some good ways or some good tips to stay motivated in this world, in this spiritual warfare, like where we are now?
Stay positive.
Let's let the pastor talk.
Big pastor.
God gave us a job to do from the beginning of time, and God set all of this in order from the beginning of time. Not to say that God causes any of this, but if he don't cause it, he allows it. He has a promise plan and he has a permissive plan. And so what's going on now has something that has been in plan from hundreds of years ago. Even the very way our system and government is run today is not something that was planned in the past couple of years. This is an infrastructure that was put in place way over somewhere else. So we're thousands of years behind already.
Yes.
And the really damaging downfall thing of it is that they know stuff that they don't relate to us. Because they would rather us fight and argue over minimum lies than for us to actually be able to wrestle with the truth.
Exactly.
So instead of them just offering us the truth on things that we argue about, they would rather allow us sit around and argue over the lies. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So this whole idea of wrestling against flesh and blood is more than just a physical battle. It's a physical battle, and it's so many other different battles on so many ways, because we're not just killing each other with guns, we're killing each other with our words. We're killing each other with our thoughts. We're killing each other with our feelings. If I don't like you, or if I feel a certain way about you, I'm going to treat you a certain way, and then I'm going to get everybody around me to do the exact same thing.
Seen it too much.
But we wrestle not against flesh and blood, so we don't even realize how when the devil, if he wants you and he can't get you, he'll get in Paco business, and he'll get Paco to turn on you. And if that don't work, he'll get in Jay Lee and get Jay Lee upset with you. Now the devil may not have been able to attack you directly by himself and get into your mind, but he'll get into everybody else's mind around you and have you sitting there like, man, I guess I'm all by myself. Man,
that's where the downfall begins.
All of this work, you have to understand your enemy.
You
got to understand that it's not about flesh and blood.
Shout out to Senzu.
You gotta understand that what is coming against you is a system that is based
on oppression. A system of oppression.
But that oppression is a proponent of evil.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand that you need to spiritually armor up and then act out. The spiritual always will overwhelm the physical. So you got to be spiritually ready to enact the physical, because when they come against you, it's going to be in both forms. If you don't think that there's witches and warlocks that are still active, that still do spells, then you tripping. So you need to get right. I love my research. I looked it up. There are 50,000 active witches and warlocks that are registered.
I saw them in the protests. I've seen pictures of them.
They're registered. So they, the same way how we trying to fight against this and against that, they are fighting against us also. There are people that don't want to see our progress, and we have to think about them too. And there's ways that they fight against us and have been fighting against us that we have not yet played chess with. We've been playing checkers. We got to play chess and understand that just because it's a white person don't mean that's an evil person.
Right.
It's not about flesh and blood.
So
we got to armor up. Exactly. We got to play chess. You got to get ready on all levels.
Let me help you out with that, okay? When I came here, nobody knew me. Gypsy were running through here stealing people's money, doing half jobs and like that, okay? Reverend Williams and Reverend Tate and them came to me and wanted me to put the Boys and Girls Club together. I was fighting among some of the other inhabitants of the community because they couldn't see what I saw. Because I was in the Boys Club at that time. And they thought that me trying to bring a Boys and Girls Club here was taking something away from the YMCA.
That's crazy.
So you know the dynamic of that, because our kids couldn't hardly get in the YMCA except on the sliding scale. God will put people in your midst to help you. I had several people come in my midst. Okay? This one lady, okay, wait a minute. Let me go to 300 Club when we started out. All right? We turned around. We were in that building with a couple of other entities, and we took some kids to Atlanta. The Nike Air It Out. Our boys did the bomb. The only reason why they didn't win because they was too short. Them boys had heart, but the ones they went up against was head and shoulders over them. Our boys was doing play action passes and everything. But it's just that their reach wasn't there. We came home, we went to the city council, and we asked them for $10,000 for a van. so we could take these kids around.
And that's where and you went to city council to get that.
That's right.
Okay.
We're not going to take that route.
So
We're not.
turn around.
Just in case somebody else wants to.
Let me help you out.
Go ahead.
Turn around. This elderly white lady, Ms. Williams, she heard. First, she was watching the Denzel Washington commercial at the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
She was in bed. She turned around. She was wondering, well, why isn't there a Boys and Girls Club in Columbia? She flipped the channel.
Oh, wow.
When she flipped the channel, she saw me and my friend standing up in front of City Hall arguing about this $10,000.
Right.
Wow.
She called our secretary, my secretary, because I was one of the founders. There was like 3 of us. And she told them that if we were to hire went to Mount Calvary. James Martin.
Oh, shout out Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
He tried to save my life. I was hard-headed.
All right.
Shout out.
She said if we would hire him, she would pay the first year expenses and his salary to hire him as the executive director.
Wow.
Okay, I ain't gonna go into the salary thing, but
Right,
it's a
but-
significant bump.
Right.
And when it was all over, said and done, today, we did it in 1995. Today, through all the help, God had put people in my midst, black and white, to help us. There is no YMCA.
Yep.
They tried to bring it back twice.
That's crazy. I didn't think about
And
that.
turn around, they've got numerous buses,
Well,
plus
yeah.
over
Yeah.
2 buildings, servicing maybe over 500 kids a year, and 250 during the summertime, maybe more.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about it 25 years.
Right, and turned around and got hooked into the Murray County school system.
Yeah.
See, so without her gift, we'd probably still be nothing.
Right.
But God went out there before us,
Come on now.
and He didn't clear the way.
Yes.
So don't think it's impossible, because you see the results of the action.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yes.
I don't know how many kids have came through that Boys and Girls Club. I don't
lot.
know.
But a lot.
It's nice in there now too. They did a lot of renovations
Yeah,
and stuff
see.
Yeah.
a few years ago. I don't know if they ever put the they at one point were talking about putting a recording studio in there. I don't know. If it's in
I don't think it
I
ever
actually wanna,
happened just yet.
I don't know. But this, when you got God in the middle of everything,
Everything's possible.
these things happen.
Anything is possible.
In his
that-
time, too.
And that happened from the dream that they had. They didn't know it would ever get that big.
They just follow what they,
You know-
what the Spirit told them.
That's right.
And that's what we got to do. We got to be moving in spirit and following it consistently. We got to be walking it.
And another thing, you got to make sure every year you get an audit. Every year. Because you heard the old saying goes, follow the money.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They tried to pull that on me, but God wouldn't let them.
Right.
You got to audit every
Hallelujah.
year. Follow
Every
the money.
year. Every year.
I like that.
By an independent auditor. You see what I'm saying?
That's a good tip.
Follow the money.
See,
love
because that's
Me
what
too.
they'll do. They'll get on the phone, boy. They'll find out. You say, I got so-and-so. They get on the phone and find out. You won't know what's going on.
So when we
You
start our
got
credit
hemmed up.
union, we need to get audits. We need to audit.
Yes, most definitely.
Yes, all right.
If you got a bank and you don't get audited, you going to jail. I promise. You might not do anything wrong, but they gonna find something.
Yeah, because see, somebody going to come up behind you that's jealous and envious. That's going to run up behind you when you ain't paying attention, and that's when you get smacked. So you cut out all that slack. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
And when you come for real. You come armored up.
Yeah.
And knowing, he said, as long as you believe, I got you. I'm just asking you to believe.
That's it.
I got you.
And that's
look
the
at
thing.
results.
We not lacking in belief and faith.
Yep.
Right.
We got that. But we have to do the things that actively make him hear our cries.
Right.
Where he hears us. They walked around.
I think we lacking in faith, Doc. I disagree with that statement, but you can go ahead.
Well, and I would agree with you on a little bit on that too. But
say what now?
Lacking in faith.
Who's lacking in faith?
Wait, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the black community here locally.
Okay, that's what I was trying to. I didn't hear his part.
I'll agree to that.
You gotta hold on.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can agree.
I mean, faith and fear don't go in the same boat.
Yep.
Which I think
And we are
fear
very
is kind
fearful.
of a catalyst for faith.
Yep.
I don't think you can really have faith without being afraid of something first.
That's
I
faith.
don't think
It
there's.
makes your faith grow.
Yep, that's what faith is.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Because you're
I don't
like, oh
believe
my
in
God.
fear.
how do you be brave if you've never been afraid?
He told me to.
You've been afraid of something before.
Yeah, but now I really don't feel like I
That's
live
what
off
faith
fear.
is, though. Not really, not being. Okay, so in my perspective, to have faith, you have to not you have to have a point where you don't believe in something. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I believe that you can get $1 million. I don't really believe that I can get $1 million. And why is that? That's fear for me, right? Somewhere down my line, I'm fearful of something to reach my $1 million. But I have faith that you can do it. And that's where the black community is.
But you want me to
We
give you a
got faith
surprise?
in.
Before you leave this earth, you done made over $1 million.
See?
Yeah,
You just don't realize it.
When I logged into my my child support online for the first time, because you can pay it online now. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yes,
yes,
update.
I do know that.
Yes.
You know how much you paid in total?
Yeah, it
Yes, I
was.
do
It
know
was.
that.
I think it was close to $73,000.
Woo,
We pay a lot in child.
Where can y'all be my baby daddy?
You better stop playing over there.
It's jokes. All
You
jokes.
involved in
all
the
jokes.
community too. You better go on somewhere.
All jokes.
He got you, Jalen.
Keep that child support coming. Just we good. But it's that fear is what's holding the black community back, and without the
We
fear,
gotta lose fear.
we got to.
We ain't gonna be free.
I don't even think
It's a-
we're
So
afraid
write
of
down
losing.
loser.
I think we're afraid of what we could do if we win. I think we're afraid of that responsibility of winning.
So we're afraid of responsibility. Then we're fearful
that's
of
what
responsibility.
We could all be.
I know I
perfect
have
if we
been
want.
several
We
times.
just don't want to.
Definitely.
The responsibility of having power, of having control, scares people.
And let me speak for myself. That's one of the reasons I know I do not do some of the stuff I'm supposed to do. I am not in some of the places I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm afraid of what'll happen there, but it's like, man, what if I do too good? Then what I'm gonna have to do next?
Yes, that's
Like,
mine. That's where I
The
am.
sophomore album.
Yes.
Pray, definitely
Yes.
pray.
Yeah,
But God
that's
didn't give us the
exactly.
spirit of fear, dog.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's
Exactly.
the basis of my whole thing.
Exactly.
When I
I
said
would love to
earlier,
say
I found out
mine.
I was highly favored. If he didn't give us a spirit of fear, and he's the creator of everything, and he's telling you he didn't create this, but it still is a thing, then who created it? Well, who else has the power of creation? So if I'm filled with
feel like
fear,
he allowed
then
it.
I'm not filled with. If he allowed it, or even if he allowed it, it's not of him.
It's not of him, right?
So
But
if I got the Most High, the God and fear can't occupy the same space. So I'm fearless because I'm filled with God. I'm highly favored. I ain't gonna die. I fight police.
Just make sure you ain't by yourself because you know.
I do.
So he
By
gave
myself or whatever,
he
man,
gave
I
us
know
a
I'm
sound mind.
blessed.
What is the thing? He
What about
not
a
only
sound mind?
he gave you a sound mind.
What about peace?
That's the whole point of your sound mind. He gave us power,
In my
sound
sound
mind.
mind, it
What's the
tells
other?
me when to fight.
Power, love, and a sound
Power,
mind.
love, and a sound mind.
I got power. I love
No
the
fear.
Lord, and my sound mind tells me when to fight.
That's you. That's not of God.
50 Cent will end it all.
Hey, look.
50 Cent will end it all. And that's what we got to be aware of. But when we go into this, if this is what you want to be your reality,
You gotta lose fear.
Got to.
you have to lose fear and believe that this can happen because all things are possible.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
But you hit a point with that
Hey,
responsibility, man, because I struggle with that all the time. I'm like, okay, I started this organization. Now here's an overwhelming mass of, hey, what's going on? What y'all doing next? What's going on? Blah 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 blah. I'm like, let me step away.
yeah.
To whom much is given.
At the top of that page.
Much is required. I think that's what people are afraid of.
Right, phase 1.
Phase 1.
Now, while we are accomplishing phase 1,
we need uniforms. I'm playing.
We need
while
hats.
we are accomplishing phase 1, we will figure out phase 2. Okay? Are y'all listening?
Yes.
We're going to figure out phase 2.
We'll figure out phase 2 because
Yep.
the world, you can't make it all in right now because
Right.
everything's going to change.
It can't, yeah.
It'll change. Before we get done with phase 1, it'll change.
Yeah, life has changed as we know, just based off the corona.
Like Jenny said, there are only 2 things in life that's constant. That's change and change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I agree and agree. For real.
And I think that's one of the, man, look, people are afraid of change, but change is the inevitable. So what happens to a person that's afraid of something that's going to happen anyway?
They go extinct.
They perish.
They become outmoded.
They perish.
You get stuck. Now, I won't even say they perish. I mean,
Or they call,
don't
or,
change.
or they let that what they how they're feeling trickle down to other people, and it's now that one bad apple causing all these bad apples now to feel with them feeling.
Not even that. They just get left
Look at your
behind.
grandparents.
The Amish don't know what the weather's gonna be tomorrow. The Amish
Shout out to the
still got
Amish, man.
horses. They still churning butter. They have not changed, and that's okay for them. They're okay with not changing, but they have been left behind in the world. We have to adapt so we don't become like Amish. Not changing don't mean it's gonna be your downfall, but you have to be comfortable with the decision you have made.
It's a choice.
Yes,
It comes down to a choice.
yes, and know
And they
and
made
understand
the
the
choice
consequences of
not
that choice. Amish people choose to be the way they are, and they're cool with the consequences of that. They don't know if it's gonna rain tomorrow. They okay with that though. We want to be up to date. We always want to be involved. We need access. We need the seat at the table. So we have to be able to adapt and to change, or
We
that's
want
going
to
to
be
be our
like
downfall.
gods.
Huh?
That's kind of what they're trying to make us. They want us to be like gods.
But we are gods.
You are.
It's, but on a different level, a different understanding. Yeah, we are like gods. We are extensions of God. Yeah, we are many gods. But when you try to control the weather, when you try to figure
Become
out
the God.
Way above my pay grade.
Right.
I'm sorry. Above my pay grade.
And all of that. Man, dude, just
That's
let
when you
God
gotta-
be God.
That's when you got to realize who you up against.
Why can't we just let God be God? They
That's
want
when you got to realize who you up against.
He let you know who's in control.
There are principalities and powers.
And coronavirus let us know we are not in control.
We are not in control.
We think in control. It ain't got
I mean,
no
before,
control.
before the coronavirus, the rainforest is burned down.
Yeah,
Africa has
it was
burned
so many
down.
other
Australia
things that
has
was
burned
happening.
down. There's been 2 major volcanoes to erupt this year.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to see if God is working, you always watch the weather.
Amen.
Go outside and look at the sky.
There you go. Is the sun still up? Yeah. Did it rain? Yeah. Oh, well, okay then.
So y'all don't think that with technology being where it is right now that they don't have any control of how
HARP
the weather
is a real program. They do control the weather.
Yeah.
They do have things that do control the weather. But
or can cause something
fake will never
to
outdo
erupt.
the real. So you can have a fake cloud with that can cause rain, but when that real cloud come with that universal power, it will wipe it out of the sky.
Yep,
so right
true.
now they can do what they want to. They can do whatever they want to. But as long
'Cause
as
I seen Raising
you
Dion.
have God first, whatever they doing ain't gonna be enough. You can make it rain, you can make a tornado, you can make it snow, you can do all that type of stuff. But when it really comes down to it, if we moving with God, no weapon formed against us shall.
I agree.
Come on, black folks, ain't nobody finished the verse.
Oh, you were talking to us.
I haven't been to church since I haven't been to church since March. I forgot that one. When all praises go where?
I mean, when you think
I'm
about
laughing
it,
at Pac. I mean, Demario.
Yeah, ain't it something? I'd be like, oh.
All right, y'all. I have got to bring this to. We are at almost 3 hours.
It's been good.
Yeah, and can low-key keep going.
I know.
I want everybody to watch this again and again because I promise it's something you missed. If you feel like you identify with anything we said, please get in contact with anybody that's sitting here. If you want to run for office, if you think you can teach some classes, if you got some kids that you want to get in some classes, if you're an app developer and you want to help, if you want to go down to the county election commission,
yes, mentors first.
Whatever. If you heard anything and you identify with, and you feel like you could feel that,
Get your name on the list.
Man, you better do something. Come on,
Right.
Get
Well,
involved.
what we
Right.
should probably do is figure out, like, in the editing part of it, if there is an editing part, we should, like, go throughout the video and, like, pinpoint when we were having certain parts of conversations.
Yeah.
So we can, like,
yeah.
so, like, if we needed somebody to see it for a particular reason,
Right.
we could go ahead and tell them where to go it in the video. Make it because if you sit down and you see 3 hours, I'm going right back to
2
sleep.
minutes
I'm
in.
Scroll right
Yeah.
there.
You know, our attention span. TikTok made that
I can
terrible.
watch a movie
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
MTV originally.
Oh, you are so right.
MTV is originally credited for ADHD by their editing patterns.
You are so right.
How everything's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then like, here's a music video. Oh, the music video's over. Here's Carson Daly. Oh, here's
Shout out to Carson.
yeah. Here's this show, and
said,
it's
"Shout out
only
Carson."
3
I love
minutes
Carson
and-
Daly.
Right.
So
That's my show.
But I think we covered a lot. I think that we touched on a lot. Thank you to everybody that showed up. Thank you to Jasmine. Tea Talk's about to start right now.
minutes, yeah.
Oh, it's perfect timing again.
Yeah.
Go check out Tea Talks.
Yep.
Please look through this again. Get in contact if you want to join the local NAACP chapter. Get in contact with at the NAACP page. If you want to
look for Paco Havard online.
all of that.
Go to
We're gonna leave some of
NAACP.com.
these here with y'all too.
Yeah.
Join
we
the
need y'all.
NAACP.
Because we need y'all.
Okay.
And even got a little book in it. Check out the book. You love the little book in it.
Okay, I like books.
411 on the 50.
Okay.
411 on the 50.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
That sound like a
info
new,
on-
that sound like a
get
new
on live.
mixtape.
I'm telling you.
111 on the 50.
Yeah. That there is important.
Interacting with law enforcement. I fight them. So I need to read this.
Y'all just wait,
I
man. We're
definitely
going to
need
get
to
on
read
live one day. We're going to read this whole book to you, man. 411 for the 50. I don't want you to
50.
die because you get nervous
Can I
when
get one
the
of those
police pull
books?
you over.
Exactly.
Don't get nervous.
I want you to
Hey,
put
George,
your
slide
hand
her
in 10
one of
and
them
2.
books.
Listen here.
I want you to be calm. I want you to be the collective. I want you to roll all your windows down. I want you to turn the lights on inside of your car. I want you to already have your wallet sitting on the dash, man.
Just be aware
All
that they
4
are.
windows down.
all 4 windows
And
down.
Interior light on.
And interior light on, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And
If you
hands
have
on
a
the steering wheel.
firearm, either take it and put it on the dash, or just pray when you tell him you got it. And if he'll reach for it and get it first, you let him get it.
For real.
Don't reach for it without letting him know what you grabbing, and then reach slow.
All right, can I just for
No,
sake-
no. We are ending the episode.
It's over.
No.
All right.
No.
What you gonna say? What are you gonna say? What are you
Brandon
gonna
Sproul
say?
think you should just stick a pistol out the window and shoot him on his way to the cop. Don't
Don't be like
Look,
Brandon.
my thing is, if you got a pistol in the car, if he know you got it, all right. This is the WhoDat podcast. Next weekend,
Appreciate
we'll be
y'all.
back with
Yeah,
another
thank you.
episode. I did meet the mayor of Murray County. Didn't even know that
We
had
needed him
one.
on the show and
He
to talk
said-
about this agenda.
He said he's open to
Okay.
yes.
And what he can do to
Phase
help us
2.
achieve some of these, not a list of demands, but what he can do to help us achieve, because if he's seen helping us achieve that will help secure black vote, and we will promise him we will raise the amount of black folks that vote in this area.
in this county.
Yeah.
Or maybe
And
can you
if
guys
not,
show
then I
him?
guess I'm running for mayor of the county then.
Show him the list of demands and be like, hey, what can we do?
I don't have a list of demands.
I'm gonna send them to you.
I'm
I'm
not
gonna send you the
coming-
link.
I'm not coming at him with a list of demands. We're gonna talk about shit.
Okay, I like
I'm
that.
I'm
I like
tired
that.
of motherfuckers. Excuse me. I'm tired of people with a list of demands.
Yeah, just
They
say,
don't owe us nothing.
we
Well,
got
don't
we
owe
got
us
some
nothing.
concerns.
Yeah.
You're part of the problem,
We
DeMario.
need to sue
Can
them.
we
What are you
put him
saying?
off
They
his
owe us
own
a
show?
lot.
Ray Sean.
They
We
owe
go
us
this
a
repar-
lot.
None of that shit's work. It's not gonna fly. They're not
We
gonna
need
give
our
it to us.
Like I
reparations.
say, that's why I say
Are we gonna stay?
We're
out
gonna
the-
sue
you
them.
got to use schematics. All right, you got to use that. So
Play
we have a list
chess.
of concerns.
Yeah.
Can you help us with these concerns?
Yeah,
Now,
that's
is
what
it
I'm
too
saying.
long for these concerns? Now we demanding that this happen because it's right next to your election day.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
close to your election day, bro.
What
That's
you gonna
the
do,
question.
bruh? What you gonna do?
Chess, not checkers.
Exactly.
Anybody that just want to run for office, even if you know you ain't going, if you just want to do it for fun and you just want to see what the electoral process is like,
I
Get
want
your
to throw
name
this
out there.
yeah, get
You
involved.
got to get your
Get
name
involved.
out there.
Sinzu says,
I'm way too fallible. They gonna find something on me, but we gotta find somebody else. Like,
Oh, it's a curfew in
I-
effect?
I'm supporting though.
But that's the good thing, because you ain't always got to be up front.
Yeah, I'm not the up front one. They
Yeah,
go.
What you got for us?
Yeah, I'm behind the scenes myself.
Sun Tzu says in the book The Art of War, man, you have to, Sun Tzu, he says in his book, you have to love your opponent, your enemy, more than they love themselves.
Yeah.
Which can be so
you
hard.
have to love them more than they love themselves, because if you know how much they love themselves, then you know what they're willing to do to make sure that they are okay. If I love you more than you love yourself, and me and you are enemies, I know what you're willing to do to protect yourself. I know what you're willing to do to protect your family, to protect the ones you love. And if I know that, then
They
I
love
know
us
how to
more than we
come at
love
you.
ourselves.
For years. Look how we built America.
They love our labor.
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
love our culture.
Yeah.
They love our look. They love our mind, our inventions. They love us more than we love ourselves.
That's
So
why they
know
years
the
ahead
extent.
planning it, man.
They know the extent of which we're prepared to go.
Yep.
Come on, Brandon.
All right, this is the WhoDat podcast. Please share. Please share. Likes are good. Comments have been amazing. Thank you to everybody that commented. Subscribe to the page. Go to the Patreon. We doing the club WhoDat. I knew you was gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know why you was bending down.
Because I was comfortable. But the Patreon, we do the club WhoDat, where we play music every Friday night. We didn't do it this past Friday because we knew we was gonna do this. So next Friday we'll be back at it. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google, all these things you can find us on. You can go get you some official WhoDat merchandise at the WhoDat mothership.etsy.com. We are working on the next Shut Up and Ink tattoo competition. There's a lot for you guys to to get with. But most importantly, share this episode. Share this episode. Watch it. Find a part that you identify with and share that with a friend. Let this cultivate your own ideas or your own thoughts or contribute to what we've already laid down. Let's get something going. Within the next 60 days, we have summer. You know what I'm saying? From June and July, by the time we hit August, we as a people need to have something concrete that we are moving forward with. And when I say as a people, I mean locally, black, white, Mexican, voters,
Cats,
non-voters.
dogs. No, that's not people.
The concern, regardless. Make sure that you are sharing this so we can find other like-minded people that want to see us push forward and get better and progress after such a dramatic shift.
So what are we going to call it?
Call what?
What are we going to name this movement?
Name this movement?
Mm-hmm. What are we going to call it?
I think we got enough names and acronyms and stuff. I'm so tired of
nameless movement.
Like just change.
Okay.
This is change.
I like equal.
This is real.
I like it.
I like the app equal too.
This is real deal.
Operation Equal.
This is
Operation
real deal.
Equal.
Like, ain't gotta be no name. Ain't gotta be no acronym. Ain't gotta be none of that. Let's just go out and do it.
Good.
Let's just go do
well,
it.
The only reason I say
I've been
give
doing
it
homeless
some
drives
sort of
and we ain't
name.
named that shit yet.
Yeah, true.
The only reason I'm saying give it a name is because in the information age, you're gonna have to be able to locate it.
Yes.
Where you going?
When we sit
Looking
down
for
at the
the
table.
two brothers on the podcast that was talking. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta have a reference for them to find the information.
I like Operation Equal.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Get us started here, man.
All right. This is B. Demario. He'll be Paco again next week.
Right. That's right.
We appreciate y'all. All welcome to the mothership, bitches. WhoDat.
WhoDat. Who? Can I say that?
Yeah, say it.
WhoDat.
All right, peace, y'all.